think is affecting us. Things that are being badly handled by the federal government of Nigeria. We are still believing that they will allow the people who are campaigning for a better living, a better country, which they have not been able to offer certain part of the country, the Yorubas in particular, and they are now trying to bring in more terrible things to what they are doing to Nigerians. One of it is that we had this rumor that Chief Sunday Igboho, who is now somehow got stranded. I want to use the word stranded. I'll choose my word in Cotonou, because neither in Cotonou or Nigeria that has been seen or charged for any. I mean, that he's not been detained. He's not been detained against his will in Cotonou. So today I have brought to everybody one of Nigerian lawyers. I'm sure you are one of them. So to come and tell us, give us more information about extradition, because like I said, the rumor is rife. I have confirmed, I've spoken with all the necessary authorities. I found out that they genuinely trying it, and they have even filed for it. But I'm told that well, don't let us go into what they got out of it. Franklin Olufemi, now, can you tell everybody listening and watching this program this morning, anyway, this afternoon in the UK, afternoon is also in Nigeria, what exactly is extradition? As our extradition treaty. Can you tell us?
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Like Otuba rightly said, my name is Olufemi, Franklin Olufemi, and we're here to have a conversation surrounding these issues with respect to extradition, especially with respect to extradition from between Benin Republic and Nigeria, because that's the subject matter of discourse right now. But simply put, extradition is the process of a country is a process in international law where a country, seeks or requests for a party who has either committed an offense, has been charged of committing an offense, or has been convicted of committing an offense in the requesting country, and makes that request of another sovereign state, that's another country now, where the so-called offender or accused person or convicted person has run to, and requesting for that country to send back the said accused person or convicted person to serve the time that he has been convicted for, or to continue his trial, or to stand trial for whatever offense he has committed. Now, when it comes to extradition, it's a matter of law. And in order for us to have orderliness within the international planes, it's not just a situation where a person boxes into the other country and says, this person has done this, return him to me. There's a process involved. There's a very, very properly laid down procedure in international law where a person can be extradited. And there are also procedures and circumstances where a person cannot be extradited. So simply put, that's the meaning of extradition. It's where a person has committed an offense somewhere, he ran to another country, and the country where he has committed the offense, more importantly, where he has been charged of the offense, or he's been tried for the offense, or he was detained and he escaped from detention, or he has been convicted of that offense, where that has taken place, the country can then go to seek, or to seek permission from the other country, that's the requested country now, to return that person to the country where he has committed the offense. So simply put, that is extradition. Within international law, there are so many other issues that arise when it comes to that, extradition or processes for extradition, both at the level of the United Nations, at the level of the ECOWAS, within the provisions of treaties existing between countries. The Nigerian treaty with respect to this discussion is we are in Nigeria, and that has happened.
That one good thing if you tell us about Nigeria. Well, that's fine, as long as, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, very soon. I'm sure Jennifer will come on very soon. Yes, so yeah. The bottom line of all of this is that where this is being done, it must be done in compliance with the law. And there are laws, a plethora of laws existing that actually sets the pace for this type of situation. Thank you.
Well, because there are a large number of people all over the world watching this program, sometimes I might want to speak in Yoruba because this particular conference or meeting is designed for people to understand. Even though I'm aware that international communities, international countries, we also noting what is, they are taking note of what is going on. And they also believing that the rule of law has to be applied. Now, tell us a little bit more about this process. What are the process and procedure?
Well, yes. When it comes to extradition, and generally, there must be an extradition proceeding that will take place. And the country where the person has gone to seek asylum or has escaped to must be satisfied of certain grounds before they can agree to release that person to the country that's requesting for that person. Now, generally, there must be in existence, either there is a warrant of arrest for that person or the person has been arrested. There must be justified that, okay, this person has been arrested and he escaped from arrest before leaving the country, or that he has been convicted of an offense, before leaving the country and he has not served the sentence, or he's awaiting trial, he's being tried, he has been charged of an offense. So the element of crime is very important because there's a very, very slim difference. In fact, there's really no difference, between a fugitive of crime and a refugee. Now, why we know that all fugitives are refugees, not all refugees are fugitives. The Black's Dictionary defines a refugee as someone that is seeking safety from persecution. Now, emphasis on persecution, not prosecution. Persecution is undue and unreasonable suffering inflicted on a person based on either their race or their political ideologies or political bearing or any other basis or any other grounds. So where a person is a refugee, the person deserves, within international law and treaties, deserves to be protected wherever it goes to. Now, where a person is referred to as a fugitive or is seen as a fugitive, now there are certain things that you must satisfy before you can allow that person to be repatriated or extradited to the country where he has committed the offense. Because where a fugitive is someone that has either committed an offense or has charged with an offense, the element of crime is what makes a person a fugitive. Now, where a person is said to be a fugitive or alleged to be a fugitive, the question now is, what is the nature of offense that that person has committed, right? So if it is something that is connected or akin to his religious inclination or his political inclination or something that is connected, to his race or any form of discrimination, that's not allowed, in the Constitution, or even that is declared as unlawful by reason of the Declaration of Human Rights and all of that, then that person is seen as a political offender. And that political offender is protected by international law and it cannot be extradited. Now, there is a popular saying also that he who comes to everything must come with clean hands. So the country that is seeking or requesting for the person or the fugitive to be returned to their country to face trial must show that they have the intention and the capacity to try that person and to guarantee justice. Now, I would start mentioning laws now because, of course, this is a discussion that's bordering on law.
Yes.
So we are aware of the fact that there is one law that governs extradition between Nigeria, Benin Republic, Ghana, and that law is the the extradition treaty between Nigeria and the people of Benin Republic, Ghana,
and Togo,
and the Republic of Togo. Is a law of 1984. Now, that law is very, very clear. That law says that a Nigerian or anybody that's committed an offense in a country and that has escaped to that country can be extradited, where that offense is an offense that is punishable by 2 years and above. But then the law went further to stress that a person that is seen as a political offender will not be extradited. So that is an exception to the law that requires or that allows extradition. And it is clearly written there. Now, Nigeria signed to that treaty. Nigeria is party to that treaty. Benin Republic is party to that treaty. And the reason we make treaties and laws is the same reason we make laws within our municipal environment. It's so that there can be orderliness, law and order in international environment. So if a person is said or is alleged to have committed an offense that qualifies as a political offense, what are political offenses? Political offenses, so to speak, are those offenses that are connected, you can use as an umbrella for those offenses that are connected to discrimination against a person based on his race, like I said earlier, or based on his religion, or based on his political bearing, his political affiliation or opinion, And the reason for this law, I believe, is because the country that is seeking for the return of that person cannot be said to, possess that fair ground to try that person. And it's also in that article. If you look at Article 4, that's where the political offenses are defined. Article 4 of that extradition treaty. I'll read out right now. It says, extradition shall not be granted for crimes or offenses of a political nature, right? Or if it is proven that the requisition for his surrender is made based on a view for trying him or punishing him for a crime or offense of a political nature, or it is requested to persecute him or to punish him on the account of his race, religion, and political opinion. So it's very, very clear. Now, this is not even a matter of whether or not he has been found guilty of that political offense. It is if it is seen that there is an attempt to try him. So it doesn't even mean he's a political offender. It only means that if there's an allegation or a supposed indictment of him being an offender on the basis of political opinion or affiliation, then to that extent, he cannot and will not be extradited. It's a very, very clear exception to the rule of extradition. Very, very clear. Article 4. It's written down in black and white. So it's not a matter.
One good thing about Nigeria.
And
well, folks, while we are still waiting for our guest, you all can imagine. Okay, he's back now. Welcome back, Mr. Olufemi. You need to speak up, please. Unmute yourself and continue. Unmute yourself, sir. Unmute. Just press the button unmute.
Yes. I've done that. Can you hear me, sir?
That, yeah?
Yes, I've done that.
Okay.
I've done that. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me, sir? Oh, I cannot hear you.
I can hear you now. I was saying when you disappear for 1 second, I said, good things you can talk about Nigeria is happening to us. Now, let me, I think we have that. One other thing I want to take you on or ask you to explain or expatiate to everybody here is we are more concerned about our own man, our own person, kind of a man who stand out at the time of need to be counted for, to fight for his own people. And that is on record till another 100 years comes. That will always be history. Our children will be studying. Now, Sunday Igboho, you are familiar.
Yes.
I want to use the word saga. PSS went to his house July 1st. And I want that to be on recording. They went there with the one and told him to kill him, to eliminate him. It wasn't that they went there to arrest. We live in a country where if you are asked to go and arrest, somebody, there's a process and procedure. When you get there, you don't aim to kill them unless that person started firing at you or that kind of thing. Otherwise, no. So, but that wasn't the story we know or we see July 1st. In the process, luckily for him, he escaped. 2 people who were killed, a lot of people were maimed, and many other people were badly treated. They were arrested. They dumped them in the jungle, dungeon or whatever you want to call it. And that again is all in history. People and time and place will be judged as time goes on in life. Because the people that were in government, the people that are head of this, head of that, time will judge them. That we don't need to go there. Now, knowing that story, as you will agree with me, does this Sunday Igboho, does it fall into the categories of people that you think should be deported to a country like Nigeria?
Okay, that's very fantastic. Sir, everything you have said so far has already shown us that there's a premonition of danger. There's a premonition of danger against the person of Sunday Igboho. Now, the fundamental law of nature, is self-preservation. Self-preservation. In fact, self-preservation comes before self-determination. Self-preservation is the foundation on which self-determination is, built. So now, talking about everything that's happened so far, the DSS, the military, a joint task force, they went to Sunday Igboho's house. We saw everything in the news. It is a fact. It's not something that, it's not story. It's something that we all saw happen. And they went there, and we know that there were gunshots. We know people died. And 2 persons died from that raid. And they arrested persons from his house, and these persons were detained for months before eventually, thankfully for the lawyers, that were able to secure their release. All of this happening, it's to my mind, it shows that there's an intention to, if not, kill that man, to maim him. That's the man chief Sunday Adeyemo. Because you cannot go to a person's house at night, not even the police, not even DSS, a joint task force of even military men. And we all know that military men only the answer to a particular order. So you cannot just go there and you say that you want to go and secure the arrest of someone like that. There is a way that arrest should be secured. Even in our laws, how you should secure arrest is clearly spelled out. It's there in the Police Act, it's there in the EFC Act, and all the other law enforcement. They have a way that they must secure arrest. So we are not in a guerrilla republic where you just go somewhere and start shooting because you want to secure arrest of someone. That's one thing. Secondly, from what history has taught us, everything that we saw that Chief Sunday Adeyemo did and was doing was out of apprehension of his own safety and the safety of, his people, the Yoruba people as a whole. He saw that the Yoruba people were suffering, things were happening, people were being maimed. I know people that have been killed, personally, very close to home, that have been killed, and nothing has happened. I don't want to go into that right now, but then he saw all of this happen and he felt that, okay, he needed to raise his voice. And what he has done was to raise his voice and to seek for the safety of the people, which is a right that he has as a person, because the United Nations, the Nigerian Constitution, everything, even the African Charter on Human and People Rights, allows and permits and validates the right to self-determination. So Mr. Sunday is interested in the safety and security of his people. That is all that he's interested in. He's interested in his safety and security of his life and his people. And this takes us back to the doctrine of social justice. Doctrine of social justice is basically on the issue that the people came together for their own safety and security, self-preservation, and they appointed the government. And that government is to protect them and to ensure that they live in a sane and safe environment. It's a contract. And when that contract is breached, then there must be damages for the breach of that contract. It's as simple as that. So having seen all of this happen, and Mr. Sunday is now, Chief Sunday Adeyemo is now in Benin Republic. I must say that under no circumstance, and no sane government, having looked at the provision of the law, would, right thinking, surrender Chief Sunday Adeyemo back to Nigeria. It's not in tandem with common sense. It's not in tandem with, the law. It's not in tandem with international law. It's not in tandem with, international morality. It's not even in tandem with facts that has, happened all this time. The fact now is that Mr. Sunday, where he is right now, needs to be protected. Because if any contrary step is taken, his life is endangered. And that life is protected by the Constitution of Nigeria, by the Constitution of Benin Republic, by the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, by the ECOWAS treaties and ECOWAS laws, by even the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So every person, every country, every nation state that are subscribed to those laws owes an obligation to protect his life. And even the laws that the Nigerian state will be relying on to midwife his extradition clearly states that where it is a fact that he might not see, or he might not be availed fair trial, or he might not be availed expeditious trial upon return to the requesting country, then he should not be extradited. The law is very clear. And the extent of this law is to protect the life of the person, to protect his right to conscience and religion, his right to political opinion. So there's no gainsaying the fact that even within the confines of the law, Chief Sunday Adeyemo should not and cannot be extradited. It's very, very clear. It's very, very clear. No country will avail Nigeria that opportunity to extradite Chief Sunday Adeyemo after what has happened. And if that should happen under any guise, then something is definitely wrong. And that's what I'm sure the international community not allow and would not permit to happen. Because the international community is like a committee of nations, that have agreed to preserve the sanctity of independent sovereignty of all the respective nations under the understanding of protecting the individual integrity of life of persons in every nation. So to that extent, there's no law. There's no law anyway justifying an extradition of Chief Sunday Adeyemo back to Nigeria. In fact, the language of the law, and I'm going to read out the different laws now. The language of the law is to preserve his rights, preserve his life, and secure him, in Benin Republic till he feels that he's safe enough to go anywhere else he wants to go to. And before I stop on that, I want to also add very quickly that as it stands right now today, Chief Sunday Adeyemo has not been accused of any offense. He has not been charged with any offense. Before he left Nigeria, he was not standing trial before any court, that he has committed any offense. So he's not even accused. He's not suspected, So everything that is being said about extraditing him to Nigeria has not fulfilled the basic requirements that I read out earlier for a person to be extradited, because there's no accusation against him. So it's just a person who protested. And the United Nations Protocol on Protests, very recent one, has said that no country, no nation state should stiffen or negate or fight any protester. The protesters are to be allowed and availed a right to peaceful and undisturbed protests. That's coming from the United Nations, and Nigeria is signatory to that. So if a person decides to protest, and then you are seeing that protest as hostility, it means the country is intolerant, and then we have to work on that, and not to work on, and not to be working towards getting somebody or pushing a vendetta. Because if Nigeria is overreaching to try to get Chief Sunday Igboho back, it's not founded within the law, and it can only be seen as vendetta. It can only be seen as someone that wants to persecute, not to prosecute. And the intention of the law is to prosecute and not to persecute. Thank you.
I just want to quickly take you to the Federal High Court in Ibadan, your state. Remember the judgment against the country, Nigeria? Remember?
Can you say that again? Yeah, it's not
Remember
very
loud. The Federal High Court Ibadan. Ibadan.
Yes.
Recording in progress.
Yes. Yeah, and you remember the judgment, and the judgment.
Yes, fantastic judgment.
Yes. Does all this what we're talking about? Does it have any impact? Does it have any relevance to? Is it going to help in any form or shape when anybody or any country in their right senses making judgment of wanting to even attempt or contemplate or wanting to extradite? And before you answer, I'm seeing that most of these laws, and there are many eminent lawyers on the platform. They are all watching. They are all listening to you. And
yes, sir.
Can I say that I'm worried that most of our laws, the laws that are supposed to provide for good governance, are they aliens to Africans? Before you go to federal court. Understand my question?
I understand your question, sir. I do. I'll start from the point of the judgment that was delivered by the Federal High Court, and then I'll go to the issue of the laws. Yes. I'm very much aware of that judgment of the Federal High Court. In fact, I see it as a it's a land-breaking judgment. When I heard about the judgment, I was impressed with the judge. It is very candid judgment. And that's why, I find it laughable that Nigeria is towing the direction that it is towing now. With all due respect, I do not think it's the right step to take. Now, a very, very renowned professor of international law, my own teacher back when I was in school, Professor Akin Oyebode, he was very, very clear about this issue when he also addressed the issue. He said, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands.
Yep.
A court in Nigeria, Federal High Court in Ibadan, has declared that it is wrong. It is executive lawlessness, quote unquote. That's my word, for a country or for the presidency or for anyone to send military men and DSS to go and ambush a man in his house and in an attempt to do whatever. The court held that it was against his fundamental rights. The court, said a lot, and even awarded damages in the sum of 20 billion naira against federal government and in favor of Chief Sunday Adeyemo. That's one fantastic judgment there. And I also understand that recently the DSS have gone to court seeking for an order of stay of proceedings against the stay of execution against that judgment, saying that if they should pay that judgment song, that it will cripple the Nigerian economy. I don't know about that one, but that's yes. There's a stay. There's an application for stay before the court now that they cannot pay that if they pay that 20 billion naira awarded in favor of Chief Sunday Adeyemo, that it will cripple the Nigerian economy, that it will affect the economy. The word is affect the economy. And then they went on to say that they have filed extradition in the affidavit in support of that application. They said they filed extradition proceedings against Mr. Sunday Igboho, and they are bringing him to the country. So I don't see on what basis they are doing that. I mean, you have an order against you, a judgment order, and you have not even complied with it, and you now want the court, to wait and sit down in one place. You want to go and bring the man. Is this not the same legal process? The country is based on the legal order, and when there's something that is done against legal order, that is that upsets the essence of the country itself, and it offends the ideology of the sovereign nature of that country. And that is, whether they like it or not, that is what they're trying to do. You cannot have it. You cannot cherry pick whatever law you want to obey or you want to comply with. So they cannot do that. If you are coming to equity, you must come with plain hands. And right now, the DSS as filthy as we can have it, and so they cannot approach the court of equity. That is just another angle to it. And that judgment has put on record also that certain things were done that were wrong. It's not a matter of, that's why I said earlier that it's not a matter of hearsay or story. The court has put on record in a judgment that they actually did things that were wrong against Chief Sunday Adeyemo. The court has it on record that they went to his house. The court has it on record that they raided his house, So that is sufficient to show that this man has been wronged on different levels. Now, what is not on record is whether he has done anything to the federal government. That's just a bundle of hearsay. What's not on record is whether he has actually, done anything that would now warrant this quote unquote witch hunt against him. That is not on record. That is just a bundle of all sorts of hearsay, if you permit me to say. So that's where we are right now. So to that extent, that judgment itself validates our position that it cannot and should not be extradited from Benin Republic because all the laws are on all fours against that extradition. Okay, sir, so on the second issue, can you please remind me of the second issue again so I can address it?
I will remind you, and I quickly also want to, and I hope some of the wordings used by the courts so far that have had cases of so they used the word that people were killed. They don't just die like that. People were killed and murdered.
I can't hear you clearly, sir.
That people were killed in the house of Sunday Igboho, but it's also wordings is very, very crucial in law. You need to understand the meaning of certain words. People were killed. People were murdered.
Yes.
And I hope that will appear in the wordings of some of the wordings used in some of the courts. Now, the second area I was just trying to talk about is, seems to me that many African countries, they don't need laws. Maybe they just believe to be operating in their jungle, their own way, because laws are just not working in Africa. Am I right to say that?
Yes, it's sad. It's sad that is happening. And in as much as I'm a lawyer and an officer of the law, I am a priest in the temple of justice at the same time. And justice is a three-way street. It's justice to the state, it's justice to the ordinary man, as you put it, and it's justice to the court. And, we have laws. A lot of times people say, we don't have law for this, we don't have law for that. We do not need laws anymore in Nigeria. We have laws. We have laws that take care of most of the things that we need to address. The only things that we need to look at making laws for, maybe for nanotechnology and for cryptocurrency and all of that. But for the main basic things, we have laws. And our laws are very clear. But the problem we have is, I will say it in two categories. One, some of us are still living in the past. In the past, when I say in the past, I mean some persons are still living with the ideology of a military setup where they believe they can get away with anything. Sadly, even during the military regime, we had a more organized, in a way, environment that we have right now. But because of the illegalities that thrived and some levels of tyranny or totalitarianism, let me put it that way, that thrived during the military regime, and people were not following the law. The law was just for decoration. You know, the constitution was suspended. You know, because of that, a lot of people thought that, okay, they can get away with anything they do, and they are used to that mentality. You know, sometimes ago, I was on the road, on the street of Abuja here, and, you know, someone was passing, we're driving, and then, you know, I don't know who the person was, maybe he's a senator or House of Reps member, you know, he was passing with his convoy. I need to see the rascal and reckless driving that was displayed, you know, and they were expecting me, they brought out their whatever, well, Koboko, whatever. They expected me to just, you know, veer off the road, but I didn't. I was driving, you know, because anybody that's elected a place of power is a servant. He serves the people. But then in Nigeria, what we have found is when someone is in power, quote and unquote, power, you know, what is said about power, it is intoxicating. They start acting as if they are the overlord, like they are the feudal lords, and the rest of us are just servants. So they do not think that they are bound by the law. They do not think that they are under the law. They think that they are above the law. And so they offend and, you know, they disregard the law with reckless abandon. So that's a mentality that has made us suffer. And a lot of times it is displayed by people in power. It's not as if the laws are not there. But people in power tend to decide not to agree with the law, to disobey the law, and then they use their power and force to impose and superimpose their own intentions, their own flagrant disregard for human rights on the people. You know, now the judiciary is the last hope now is said of the common man. But then a lot of times, even the common man does not have access to the judiciary. So when you cannot even go to the judiciary, you can't go to court, and they know that you cannot even access that court. It's easier for people to continue to offend, you know, to offend you, to dehumanize you, and to reduce the person to anything other than a person. And that is the situation we have had in Nigeria. The second part of it is the fact that we keep saying this, what I would call nonsensical statements in this part of Africa or in this part of the world. We keep saying Rome was not built in a day. Rome was not built in a day. Whenever something goes wrong, we say Rome was not built in a day. Whenever we do something that is animalistic, we say Rome was not built in a day. And so we make it an excuse for all sort of obscene
yeah, we having one of the best things that can be taken out of Nigeria. Power failure. We are unable to provide power failure the last 61 years. Sad. You're back, Mr. Lufemi. Yeah. Sorry about this. Wow. For those of you who want to ask questions, I'm sure Barrister Olufemi will allow that. So all what you just need to do is please raise up your hands electronically, and then towards the end of the program, we will allow you maybe about 20 to 25 minutes for your questions. So, but as it is now, we just need to have our guests before you can even ask questions, because these are part of the thing we are trying to fix when we get to our country, our new nation, because things like this cannot just continue to happen. Because it's only in Africa that I know that power failure is not only rampant, it has become a way of life, and people have always allowed it to. They don't really care. All they do is to pray that power failure should stop, and it's never going to stop. We are still waiting for our guest, Barrister Olufemi, Franklin Olufemi. Hope very soon you will join us. It's unfortunate that we still have to deal with a situation like this after about 61 years. that we're still struggling to provide ourselves basic things of life. One of them, which I don't think having lights makes you to be a millionaire or make you to be anybody, but to have, these are basic things, but Nigerians in Nigeria have been denied of all this kind of thing, and many other African countries, and it's very, very sad. So we are still waiting for our guest, Barrister Olufemi Franklin Olufemi, join us. While we are at it, maybe if, like I said, there are a couple of eminent lawyers in the house. So if anybody, if your question is going to be general, I can ask one or two of them to answer your question. Let me quickly go to Amotekun. What's your question, Mr. Amotekun? You need to unmute yourself, Mr. Amotekun. Unmute yourself, sir. Yeah.
Right. I said, if you don't mind, I'd rather ask the question to the lawyer. So
okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. That's what I said. Hopefully, when he comes back, and oh yeah, he's back. I think he's back. I've just admitted him in, and oh, I admitted him a while ago. Okay, let me quickly go to Anu. Do you want to wait for the lawyer, or you want to ask a question that can be answered by many lawyers in the house? Which one do you want?
You have to say something.
Unmute yourself, please. Mr. Anu, our lawyer, the lawyer is back now. Just
I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with this network.
Don't be sorry about anything in Nigeria. It's really feel for you. We genuinely feel for you, because you don't deserve going through this kind of hardship in life. You just described the preoccupation of a lawyer to the masses. It's extended. And when you have to struggle to use generator to prepare your notes and all that kind of thing, it's just very good. I've chosen to allow one or two people before I continue with you.
Okay, sir.
If you don't mind, Mr. Amotekun, can you ask the lawyer is back now? Just a minute, please. Short and unmute yourself.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'd like to open with two little sentences, so to speak. First is in Yoruba, they say Alatishe Lima Tishiarai. And the other one is prevention is better than cure. Now, we know a bit of history about the person we call our president at the moment as a matter of antecedents. And we know about Umaru Diko decades ago, and we know about Nnamdi Kanu, which is more recent. Now, isn't it about time that we start doing things in such a way that we actually display our responsibility? Is there anything, would you suggest that if we have the means, we do whatever we can to prevent this extradition? It might not be a lot, but at the end, it's still an attempt, so to speak. I don't want to put too much out there, so we don't let the cat out of the bag, if you understand. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Thank you.
And yes, just like you said, very, very important. You see, when I was talking earlier, I talked about self-preservation, and I said it is the epicenter of the law of nature. It is the epicenter of self-determination, is the epicenter of sovereignty. And it says that a person has a right to life. It is, in fact, the foundation rock of our fundamental rights in Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution that we have right now as amended, 1999 as amended. Now, that right says that a person has a right to life and must not be unlawfully denied of his life. Now, right to life also includes right to self-defense. It also includes right, to defense of a person and right to defense of the property. Not just from taking the person's life, but from committing even grievous harm to that person. So, of course, if a person believes reasonably, as we have in this case of Chief Sunday Adeyemo, that his life is in danger, he has a right to do what he needs to do within the confines of the law to preserve his own rights. Now, as things have played out, and like you said, you alluded to the case of Nnamdi Kanu, that's more recent, and I will try not to discuss that because that was actually a rude shock to me about the way that whole episode played out. But then it also tells us of the workings and the tendencies and the possibilities of the things that can be done by the government of the day in Nigeria. And yes, I agree with you when you say that anybody that feels that he is threatened or is being persecuted or his life is endangered should take overt steps to protect his own rights. Albeit, those steps should be within the confines of the law. Now, in our own environment here, as intellectuals, as ordinary people, as Nigerians, as Yoruba people, of course, any step we can take, to ensure that Nigeria does not, or the state of Nigeria does not set in motion any mechanism that's not known to law in order to force or compel, securing the person of Chief Sunday Adeyemo back to Nigeria should not work. Now, there are ways to go about that. Of course, we know that we're talking about a sovereign state, which has a lot of powers, let me put it that way, within its arsenal. But then, the greatest power of all is the law. Bracton said that the king ought not to be subject to anyone except to God and to the law, because it's the law that made him king. So the king, even though if you are the president or wherever you are still subject to the law. A one-time Supreme Court justice in America said, "Be thou howsoever high, the law is still above you." So there are avenues within the law that we can take. The first thing that we need to do, if I may suggest, is to know in actual fact what steps are being taken by the federal government. How are they going about their extradition request? Because it's a request. It's not an order. The law says it's a request. What proceedings are they setting in place, for this extradition to be put in motion? And then once we have sufficient fact on that, we combat it in that direction. But if it is shrouded in secrecy, or if we do not have a defined understanding of what is being done already, then we have an obligation to then show some form of representation to the country where he is to show us why it should not be extradited. The law is very clear. The law says that if the extradition treaty says that if the requested country finds any reason to believe that it should not be extradited, and those reasons were given, they were highlighted, if it is seen that it will not be availed fair trial in the country that is requesting, then it will not be extradited. Now, from the facts available to us, including a judgment of the court in Nigeria, it's very clear that if he's brought back to Nigeria, it will not be availed fair trial. Or if, let me not say it will not be, because it's a very categorical statement, but there is a high likelihood that he will not receive fair trial. I mean, this is a person that he was ambushed in his house where he's supposed to be enjoying his right to, his right to life, his right to owning properties, his right to dignity of a human person. He was ambushed by the instrumentality of government, and he was almost murdered in that house. Now, the same persons that ambushed him and almost killed him are saying they want to bring him back to Nigeria for trial. a judgment of the court has said that what has been done is wrong and that it's unlawful and that it should be paid compensation in damages. The same persons that are saying that they do not have the capacity or the economic weight to pay that damages still seek to extradite him, to bring him to Nigeria, but they have enough capacity to extradite him and to prosecute him. I mean, you cannot just approbate and reprobate. You cannot choose what part of the law to obey. So we can make that representation. We can make that representation to the People's Republic of Benin. We can make that representation by also filing in compliance with the extradition treaty. Nigeria is not is not on its own, the only entity that can make such a representation. Now, you might ask me, how can we make that representation? Of course, there's a popular saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. So we can actually undertake proper advocacy. We can put it in the press. We can furnish proper information, proper facts on record, to the government of Benin Republic. Even we can also work through international organizations like Amnesty International, amongst other vibrant and viable international organizations who are very passionate about the right of a person. We can work through those international organizations and furnish enough information to the Republic of Benin to show that the man, Chief Sunday Adeyemo, is not subject in the wordings and the spirit of the extradition treaty to be extradited to Nigeria, but rather in the same wordings and spirit of that treaty, he is subject to be protected by the Benin Republic government. So this is just one of those steps that we can take. It's better than just waiting for things to happen, because history has shown us time and again that if we continue to wait for things to happen, we might be faced with a rude shock or with an unpleasant surprise as to what the government of Nigeria of today can actually do. We also know that the government of Nigeria, as it stands today, has made a very frightful statements, in the past, which we are seeing in its action, that where the rule of law and public policy is at stake, we abandon the rule of law and face public policy. I really don't understand how you can juxtapose the rule of law and public policy together and try to deduce that you can sacrifice the rule of law, which is the bedrock of any sovereignty, of even government itself, on the basis of public policy, which is, like equity, roguish, cannot even, it can be measured only with the foot of the president. Anything the president says is public policy is public policy. It's not something you can define within the nomenclature of a particular society or a particular circumstance. Public policy is fluid. It moves based on exigencies and circumstances. So you cannot say that you're not taking the principle of the rule of law. But that's what has happened in Nigeria today. So a government that is not inclined to follow the rule of law and to obey and to comply with the extant law of the state and international law, but rather decides to offend that law, should not be entertained or be given audience at the international by any other country that intends to obey and comply with international law. These are the things that we can put forward also in our representation. Then finally, we also know that Chief Sunday Adeyemo has also filed cases at the International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court, and he deserves to be heard at that level. So all of these things have gone beyond, just the territorial issues of Nigeria. It's no longer a matter for municipal deliberation. It's a matter, as we are doing today, that must be deliberated upon extensively, on the international plane. And I believe that using our different, working through our different capacities and using our different means, we can actually make representations against any intention of the Nigerian state to seek for its extradition. Because if we fail to do that, then we stand a risk of facing a very big embarrassment, of impunity repeating itself again in Nigeria, whereby the government of Nigeria, might, under certain circumstances, we do not know yet. I'm not saying this is what will be done or this is what will not be done. As a lawyer, I've been taught not to assume. But then from what we have seen in history, we must also save the government of Nigeria from reducing itself to that point of, again, contravening international conventions, treaties, and laws, but rather to abide by them. Thank you, sir. I cannot hear you, sir. I think you have to unmute your mic.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you very much, technology. Now, that's very extensive. You've said it very well. You've explained very well. I'm going to take 2 more questions. Then thereafter, we will continue with deliberations of today. And also want to announce to the world, those people who are listening to us, that the idea of this meeting today is to tell the whole world that one of a country that is a member to United Nations is about to make the mistake of breaking the law of international rules. That you and I know that treaties has the merits, they have reasons why you can extradite, and also reasons why you cannot. And we have been speaking about a man whom we believe the record clearly shows that he should not, in any circumstances, be extradited to any country that want to punish him or that want to kill him. Now, let me quickly go to Anu. Please, 1 minute, and then go to another one from America. Now, Mr. Anu, quickly.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Job well done, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, this is my question to you, sir. Please, is there any way the international community can come in for the innocent man to stop paying for what offense that he know nothing, that he did not commit, which not any offense would count against him, and they were keeping for no reason? Is there any way, or there's a way we can go about it to make sure the international community gets involved? If Benin Republic doesn't have power, according to what they are saying, they are playing politics. It's like some people, they are threatening Benin Republic, because I've never seen this kind of thing. I've not heard this kind of thing. This is where I'm hearing it for the first time.
Okay.
Is there any way, or to get out of hand, the youth started doing what they don't expect them to do? Because this is a country whereby some people are paraded in the name of bandits, Boko Haram. Nobody touched them. Somebody come out, is fighting for the right of his people. Why he doesn't like why they are killing them day in, day out. At the end of the day, they went to his house midnight with nuclear weapon, bomb.
All right.
Thousands of soldiers. I will sitting down and be looking, please.
Okay, so let me quickly address that. Thank you, sir, Mr. Anu. Like we've been saying in the course of our discussion, you must have heard that I said Chief Sunday Adeyemo himself has gone to seek the intervention of the International Criminal Court with respect to these issues. So it's not like we are not doing anything about it, or people are not doing anything about it, or no step is being taken about it. But, you know, at the same time, it's important that we, like I have been saying, situate everything that we are doing within the law, because there's a saying that there's a legal maxim that he who seeks equity must do equity. So whilst we are taking steps so that we don't make the same mistake that the federal government is making, right? We must pursue the justice of the case. I might be limited in my exposition on this because I'm a lawyer. I can only speak from a legal point of view. I can only advise, you know, on the basis of what the law provides, what the law stipulates, you know. But the Constitution has said it, and has said it very clearly. A person is entitled to a right to life. And where that right is being threatened, a person has a right to preserve his own rights. And that right extends not just to a person, but to every other person. So yes, it's important. I've said it earlier also. We must engage international community. We must engage other international organizations. If you remember the Bring Back Our Girls situation, everybody got involved because we were gainfully and meaningfully engaging continuously, everybody. So if we can continue to also have this type of conversation, and then from our own different, environments, from our different, in our different professions, and in all the places that we are in, we can also push, in our different, using our skills to engage internationally now, both the Benin Republic government and other governments of the world. Then I think that would go a long way. And to be honest with you, Benin Republic is, might seem like a weak country, but it's a sovereign state. It's a sovereign state and it's entitled to its own decisions. So Benin Republic has a decision to make, and I expect that the Benin Republic should make that decision in alliance and in compliance with international law and treaty. Now, we can help them to stay on that path by continually putting pressure on them as far as the law is concerned, by continually showcasing that this is the position that you ought to take, this is the position of the law, and all of that. That can be secured by continuous representation. We must not be seen as invisible. We must not be seen as, not taking action. The truth is, a lot of times we might talk about these things and talk about these things and talk about these things, but if we are not being proactive about it, if we are not taking steps, if we are not making representations, using laws that are binding to both entities to push our arguments, if we are not going to those countries and filing our petitions, we must file our petitions. We must show that this is what is right, and we know that this is what is right. There's a difference between saying this is what is right, but not knowing it. But where they know that this issue is a public issue, it's an international issue, and the person that has the right is aware of his right, he knows his right. To that extent, I'm sure that we can actually make proper representation and use the resources available to us to push our advocacy forward. Because if we relax for a minute or two, there's a very high possibility that the government of Nigeria will go about their business and do what they want to do.
Thank you very much, Barrister Femi. And that exactly what you just said is what we are doing. We are trying to sensitize not only people of this world, but we are also trying to send this message, a signal to Republic of Benin to understand, to know the
yes.
And quickly before I take the next question, it's also gone are the days that the country can operate with impunity, do whatever they want to do. There are other bigger countries with a big stake that can, if any nation breaks at their own whims, break any law, can suffer. And I hope Republic du Benin and their people are listening to this. I invited a couple of them. I hope they are listening. Let me quickly go to USA. Barrister Dr. Janet Fashaki. It's a good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm coming to you by the way of my ministry, the Saturday Ministries, in case you are wondering. Where am I there? My name is Janet Fashakin. I'm a practicing attorney here in New York. And I've been following this matter of Chief Igboho with rapt attention. And I want to say thank you, Barrister Olufemi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you are really knowledgeable in the Nigerian law. And that's why I think I can put some questions to you. And please, I want you to answer me honestly these questions. Don't assume that you are talking to a lawyer in America. You know better than us because you are within the country right there. You know what is going on that we may not know here because we are looking from outside. Now, can you help us understand what was the basis of Chief Igboho's arrest in Benin Republic?
Okay, well, that arrest is an event, arrest in quotes, because I always like the late jurist, Justice Kayode Esho, once mentioned where we asked him some questions. Kadesho JSC retired. He said, everything I said and everything I decided on is based on what is in front of me, you know, what were the documents and the evidence that are filed in front of me. So yes, to that extent, I might not be able to sufficiently answer that question you asked, because that happened in Benin Republic. Like you said, I am a Nigerian, a Nigerian lawyer, and I am not, I was not briefed by Chief Sunday Adeyemo on that issue, and I was not involved in either defending him or anything. So I cannot claim, because I don't like relying on hearsay or press, because I can tell you, even the press is very, the Nigerian press now, a lot of papers, and especially online, all these press in Nigeria, they are not reliable. So I like not to rely on, I do not want to make statements, especially statements on a platform like this, based on things that I have not personally or fruitfully looked at myself and had the opportunity to actually make deductions on. Like I said earlier, the issue of the ambush on his house, the raid on his house, is a fact. I mean, the court knows about it, the judgment has given on it. That's why I can actually make categorical statements on that, because that issue, that event happened, and persons were killed at that place, and, you know, persons were carted away, you know, as though they were abducted, and they were, you know, they were detained. So I'm aware of that, but anything that happened in Benin, I cannot claim in good faith to be 100% knowledgeable about it. Yes, thank you.
All right, from what we read here, was there a time when the Nigerian government put out an Interpol request, and could that have been the reason for his arrest, or what was the effect of putting out an Interpol request? What can you just explain to us what an Interpol request is actually?
Okay, well, yes. Indeed, we know that the Nigerian government has taken steps severally to extradite Chief Sunday back to Nigeria. Now, indeed, we've also read, like you read, that there was a time that an Interpol request was made. In fact, we also read that at the time, the present Nigerian ambassador to Benin Republic fueled an aircraft, or was it an helicopter, and was ready to, you know, bundle Chief Adeyemo from Benin Republic to bring him to Nigeria. And that there were efforts that the ambassador made to bring him to Nigeria at the time, which I do not believe were in compliance with the law. But yes, we also read that as well. So these are the things that we read. And in as much as I cannot validate or invalidate those news materials, the fact remains that efforts were made to bring him back to Nigeria. So the information you got, they lean towards being the truth, but I cannot say that, yes, this is actually what happened. But what we know today is that they've taken, this is not the first step, they've taken several steps. I'm talking about the Nigerian government to bring Chief Adeyemo back to Nigeria in whatever state, in whatever guise that those steps were made, whether it was an Interpol request, whether it was an extradition request, or whatever it is, we know that this has been going on. Steps have been made over and again to bring him to Nigeria. You know, and all we are saying is that anything that the Nigerian government wants to do with respect to anybody, and in particular right now, Chief Sunday Adeyemo, should be done in compliance with the law. And any time that it so happens that the law does not allow an act to be done, then the Nigerian government should relax and abide by that law, not to go about it in any other way. Now, this is not saying that I am aware of any other way that the Nigerian government wants to go about this, but this is also saying that being proactive, we must advise the Nigerian government, because history has not served the Nigerian government well when it comes to bringing a person of interest back to the country to answer for whatever offense that actually on the edge of our seats, and we are afraid that the Nigerian government may go or toe the line of history again to take steps that are not in compliance with the law, that offends the law, that offends international committee, that offends, international morality. And that's why we're having this conversation. So yes, in response to your questions, we have read in the papers, we have been privy to communications and news materials that has claimed that these steps have been taken by the Nigerian government. Interpol requests have been made. We have seen that in the news. And honestly, we cannot say that we disbelieve it, because we know that aside from that, they've taken other steps to bring him to Nigeria. So to that extent, yes, we know that this is a very, very high alert situation. It's a situation that calls for serious alertness on our part as Nigerians and as Yoruba people to take action, in whatever guise, in compliance with the law, to ensure that Nigeria doesn't again offend another international law.
Okay, so I have two more questions. I don't know if I'll be permitted. Otumba, am I allowed two more questions?
One question more. Okay, go for it.
All right. Barrister,
yes,
this one is not a question, but it's not part of my two questions. Does Nigeria, as it stands today, and does the law system in Nigeria still deal with something they call contempt of law? I'm asking. I'm a 1990 graduate of the Nigerian Law School. I left home a while ago, so I may not have known what is going on there. I know you're laughing. Yeah, so it's been a while, right?
Of course, but you are correct. You are correct. Okay. You're not out of fashion at all. You're absolutely correct. Yes.
Do you have what they call contempt of law? Is there still contempt of law in Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay, that's number one. Then number two, let's go back to this judgment of Justice Ladin Akintola of September 17, 2021, which said that they should, which kind of ruled against the Nigerian government and find in favor of Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as the Adeyemo Igboho. And by that judgment, they're not supposed to go after him in any way. They're not supposed to harass him. They're not supposed to threaten him. They are not supposed to go to his house or come close to him in any way. And they are supposed to pay him 20.5 billion naira, which the DSS is now appealing. Now, is it right to say that what they are appealing is the stay of execution of that 20.5 billion, and not the stay of execution of, are not appealing against the fundament, the basic judgment itself that was granted against them? They are not appealing that judgment per se, the underlying judgment, but they are appealing the execution of the monetary judgment there, to say that it will run down the economy of Nigeria. And is it also right to say that even appealing that the execution of that judgment does not stop the garnish order, that the Adeyemo Igboho's lawyer can still go after Nigeria to get that money, regardless of this stay of execution that they are asking for? Because for you to get a stay of execution, you have to, over here, because I said I left home a while ago, so I don't know, I want to know whether it is the same as here. If you are asking for a stay of execution of a monetary judgment, you first of all have to pay that money into court and then begin to appeal it. I haven't heard that they have put that money in court and now they are appealing it. I think what they can appeal maybe not to make the order absolute. The order stands, the money is owed, they have not put the money in court, and for them to say they are appealing the execution of that judgment of the money that is supposed, they are appealing, they want a stay. They want to put a stay on it. Is that the way it's supposed to go? And is like Adeyemo still owe this money? Because I don't see them having taken the right step. So I don't know whether that's the right step from the Nigerian point of view, or that's the right step from our own point of view in the US. So how do you go about that? How is it? Can they say that Adeyemo cannot get this money because they put this, they are appealing the execution of this money. They are trying to put a stay on the execution of the money. Is it right to say that the garnishing effect can still go ahead against the Nigerian government?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, madam. First things first, yes, I would say that every party to any case has a right to appeal the judgment of the court. That's a given. Now, if you recall the judgment that was given, it was extensive, as you rightly said, and it included the payment of 20 billion naira to Chief Sunday Adeyemo. Now, you said that over there in the United States, usually the money will be paid to the courts. Well, over here in Nigeria, in fact, the language of their application for stay of execution was that if that money is pulled out of the Nigerian, quote unquote, Nigerian account, it would affect the Nigerian economy. It's like it will pull down. I don't know. Well, that's the statement that I saw according to the affidavit.
Well, that's their own statement. But what is the how much money do they put into these DSS people? How much money did they vote for the DSS?
That is a question of fact now. I don't want us to stress too much in that direction because we can keep talking about that and talking about that. Let's leave it to the lawyers in court to argue that before the court, whether or not they're actually entitled to that stay of execution that they are claiming for, they are requesting for. But what I want us to actually look at more importantly is whether or not the application for stay of execution of that 20 billion avails them, to pursue and to continue to go after Chief Sunday Adeyemo the way they are going or going about it. Now, the truth is, the application in Ibadan that was the judgment that was secured was a fundamental rights application, and what the Nigerian government seeks to pursue against Chief Sunday Adeyemo is a criminal charge. Now, usually, where all things are done in compliance of the law, a party, the government or the state, where it has reasonably suspected or it has found someone to have committed an offense, has a right to actually, properly arrest that person, properly inform that person of his offense, and depending on the authority or the organization that is conducting, the prosecution or the arrest, and then to properly charge the person to court and properly try that person. So the import of this statement is that a person who has committed an offense can be arrested and tried, but it has to be done in compliance with the law. Now, if Chief Sunday Adeyemo were to be in Nigeria today, and any law enforcement agency goes to him and say that, okay, we want to try you for an offense or this or that, the law does not preclude the state of instituting a criminal charge. That's not the intention of the law. The intention of the law is that a person must not be treated in any way that would presuppose that that person is not a person. The rights that we have as persons are our rights because we are persons. So if for any reason at all, the Nigerian government must deal with Chief Sunday Adeyemo, it must be that the government is dealing with him as a person. Now, in the present situation, not just as a person, but as a person in another country. So if in any way the Nigerian government feels or believes that Chief Sunday Adeyemo has some questions to answer in the Nigerian court, the Nigerian government must go by the way of the law to invite him to answer answer those questions. But when the same law precludes the Nigerian government from reaching him or from bringing him to the country, the Nigerian government must then sit tight and obey that law that precludes it. It's just as simple as that.
Appeal it.
No, it cannot even be appealed because it's a statute.
The judgment that says don't go near him, don't touch him, is not a statute.
Yes, that judgment can be appealed. Yes, but as long as that judgment remains a judgment, even if it's in the appeal court, as long as the appeal court has not made a decision, it remains the judgment of the court. And even if the appeal court makes a decision and the parties choose to go to the Supreme Court, as long as the Supreme Court has not heard the case, the decision of the appeal court remains the judgment of the court.
Of the court, yeah.
Yes, so to that extent, the Nigerian government is bound to obey that judgment.
Okay,
you know,
so
as long as it's not been appealed. Yeah.
Sorry, my last question. Does the legal maxim an accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty, does it still hold in the Nigerian courts, under the Nigerian?
It does. It does, okay. Absolutely. And that is why also I've been using the word alleged to have committed an offense, you know, right. Because as far as we are concerned, we are not aware, I am not aware of any offense. And like I said earlier, I do not speak on things that I have not observed, you know, myself. You know, life itself is a science, and scientists tend to observe things, test it by hypotheses, and do experiments before they come to facts. So we don't just arrive at facts. We must have observed it with our senses, must have tested it with our logic, and then we draw a conclusion that yes, this is actually a fact. So as far as I'm concerned, with my logic and my senses, I have not seen any offense. So if anybody is saying that there's an offense, it is not for people like us or myself to say there's an offense. It's for the prosecutor to prove, you know, the existence of an offense. And until that is done, there's a presumption of innocence.
You prove it beyond a reasonable
doubt. Yes, okay. Beyond reasonable doubt. And until it is proven beyond reasonable doubt, you know, the party that is said to have committed that offense is presumed to be innocent. And even if you are successful in proving it beyond reasonable doubt, and the defense attorney can establish sufficient doubt in that your proof, then that reasonable doubt has been extinguished. And in the criminal justice system, once you cannot sustain reasonable doubt, the court cannot convict. The court has no other option but to acquit the party that has been prosecuted. And then after the acquittal, the party can decide to choose it for malicious prosecution. And then
okay, so now my last question now.
Well, that's just
is it the excuse of Nigeria that the reason why they have not prosecuted Chief Adeyemo was because he's out of the country? Do they not know anything about trial in absentia? Does that they don't? I mean, is it that they don't know that in Nigeria? Because the only case that has gone to court as of today has been the case brought by Chief Igboho, Chief Adeyemo, Sunday Adeyemo, yes. Has been the only action, which is a civil case. We have not read of any criminal action or even civil action brought by the Nigerian government, even though they are the ones control the executive there controls all of the two other arms of government. They are the legislature, they are the executive, they are the judiciary. Yet they have not gone to court to bring any criminal charge against this man, whose house they invaded in the middle of the night, where they killed people, where they allege even terroristic acts to the lady that exposed them for coming. So should there be like a sinister move, a clandestine operation? Because that's the reason that they had against that lady that they kept in custody for so long, that they said she exposed them. So should a legitimate government, I don't know, like I said, I left Nigeria over 30 years ago. So maybe things have changed. Should a legitimate government be acting in a clandestine way as if they don't have any right to court to prosecute somebody, and the only way they can react is to go in the middle of the night and say, don't expose us. If you expose us, we will allege terrorism against you. Is that the rule of law now? Because I mean, rule of law is capable. What will I say now? It can change depending on the kind of criminal legislators that you have in your house over there. They can change anything. They can do anything. And I'm saying this. I'm not apologizing to any of them because that's who they are. And they can rule. They can make anything. Have they made that law that the government doesn't need to go to court anymore? If you want to do something against somebody, go in the middle of the night, hide your identity, do whatever you want to do and leave. Is that the rule of law in Nigeria now? Because I mean, it looks bizarre to me because they control everything. They can go in the daytime, they can go in the afternoon, they can send a request to him, come and talk to us. I did not read any of that before they came to his house. to impound on him and to do that. There was nothing that showed that that man was ready to leave the country until they chased him out. So what exactly is going on in Nigeria? Why is our government there behaving like a terror, kind of, even worse than an Hitler government? I know they have their people on the line and they can hear me out. Why are they behaving like an Hitler government? Why are the DSS behaving like a Gestapo?
Okay, but let me address your question before I forget where you started from.
What I'm asking is it impossible for the government to go to court over there, because there is no court action from the government? Is it impossible for them to go to court? Or why are they doing clandestine operation of wanting to exterminate people?
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Dr.
Your concerns are very, very legit, and they are very, very sound. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't say much about this, because even recent events, recent happenings, will show us that a person is also within our law. Our Administration of Criminal Justice Act allows, for a person to be tried in absentia. So, in fact, recently, a particular gentleman, I'll not mention his name here now, but I'm sure that most of us know the person I'm talking about, was tried alongside his father, and because he was able to jump bail one way or the other, he did not attend the proceedings, but he was tried in absentia, and he was convicted in absentia.
That's minor case, isn't it? Minor case.
Yes, minor case. Yes. His son, Fisia, I think. Yes, he was tried in absentia. He was convicted in absentia, and I don't say laughable part of it is that he was sentenced in absentia. And if you read the content of that judgment and the sentencing, you begin to wonder, how will the sentencing be executed? How is it going to save them? This person, you don't even know where he is, and the judgment was so speculative, in its content, that you begin to wonder, how are we going to go about this type of thing? A lot of my colleagues, including myself, have found that judgment, sentencing particularly, not even the conviction, but the sentencing.
But how was he served if they cannot find where he is? Because, he
was arrested, and then he was able to escape eventually, and up to now, he has not been found. So yes, that's the case, and that's one that has been tried in absentia. So yes, it's not a novelty. It's not new in Nigeria to try.
So why are they behaving like criminals, not going to court and coming after somebody wanting to kill the person? You are a government.
So yes, these are postulations that have been made. These are things that have been said. People are of the opinion that there are other more tidy and more appropriate ways to go about this. The laws are put in place to help both people and government to achieve results within a sane and lawful society.
Yeah, any aggrieved person can go to court.
Exactly. So that's partly the reason that we are having this issue, and we are all surprised, and it makes it look as though the intention to bring him in is something other than just for him to face trial.
So kill him.
Just as you said, taking your word on it, it appears, from your statement that he is at risk, he's endangered, and everyone here will agree with me that from everything that has been done so far, his life is actually at risk. His life is endangered, and so it is also the more reason, for him not to be extradited. In fact, it is the more reason, that the extradition treaty, which Nigeria is a signatory to, has said that this type of person should not be extradited.
Thank you.
Sorry,
it's not implied.
It's
an express provision. It's express in Article 4 of the
lawyer. This and I know you're not going to answer this, but I'm putting it out there for whoever may hear me out to answer me. Maybe they can answer me, and then we can dialogue on the pages of newspaper or wherever. This your Malami of the Attorney General. Which law school did he go to?
investment. Now,
seriously.
Even if I wanted to answer, I wouldn't know the answer.
Exactly. And I wouldn't even advise you to answer, Dr.
I mean, we all put our resume on the line now.
Yes.
So maybe you've read it.
No, I would suggest to Barrister Lufemi not to answer that question.
Okay.
Now,
it is not within my knowledge.
Let me quickly make a couple of observations, and I will take. I think I saw Barrister Ogedengbe. Anyway, I'll come to Fatai. A quick observation. I'm talking now as a public and political affairs commentator. I have noticed that we've been talking about all these laws. Remember, at one time, I said, "Why are we not obeying laws?" It looks like to me that laws in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is just a kind of a cover-up. We do want to operate our country based on laws, rules, and regulations. We rather rule our country based on men, based on personalities. We personalize everything. We hardly use laws to settle matter. We only use it if we still want to be the man in charge. It's only in Nigeria that I see that the separation of government is one-sided. It's so lopsided that it's only the executive that is in control of everything. They're in control of everything in the sense that they take it to be once the executive that has that's the function of appointing a chief justice. They believe that once the chief justice of a country or judges or whatever is appointed, they can use their small finger to turn them around. It's only in Africa. Other countries that has similar process, I want to be challenged here. Once they appoint judges or judges, they have no control over this third arm of government, which I think is very sad in Nigeria as we speak. Now, let me take one more question from Mr. Fatai. To please make it brief. I still have a couple of questions to ask our guest before we round up today's gathering. Mr. Fatai, your question. I'll meet yourself here. Okay, go on.
Yeah, yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Appreciating your presence.
Thank you so much.
It's been worrying, but let me say it's worrisome that as at this point in time that we are discussing, we are not facing a reality that Nigeria does not exist. We are not facing a reality that the Yoruba race is facing serious threat of extermination. I'm really shocked that this dialogue is not discussing about our situation as Yoruba people and that doom is coming. And then what are the strategies on ground to avoid this doom? A normal government can never, ever operate the way Buhari's government is operating. We have seen every evidence on ground that already we have been completely undermined and there is a conspiracy against our race in Nigeria. The fact on ground now is that this government is testing our resolve. They are trying to communicate to us indirectly or proverbially that you people have been conquered, nothing you can do about it, and we are going to eliminate you from your own fatherland's soil. This is the message that is coming from this government. And I keep wondering why our leaders are not being proactive, understanding this proverbial message being communicated to every Yoruba-blooded person on the soil of Nigeria. This is the reality on ground. All these semantics can never take us to anywhere. There is a conspiracy against us. We have seen that Nigeria is about to be recolonized. That is the word on ground. It is about to be recolonized, and they know the only threat that the Western people have in Nigeria is the Yoruba people. This is the reality on ground. Whether we accept it, we don't accept it, whether I'm going to be insulted, I don't care. But when the reality downs on us, So this is the reality. A normal government, now what has it go done? We are seeing deaths on the streets every day, people being mutilated, being destroyed. We see guns in their bushes, and Buhari government is not taking any action. Any little thing that a human person does, now this thing has started long ago. But I want only financial Muslim right from the first day, people at the government, Nigeria military, my degree, not to find message we are going to be conquered. And as I'm talking to you now, as Yoruba people, I'll tell you that my program that anyway. It's about future, our life, our generations coming. So it's not discourse. We should be crying. This is the reality on ground. We have been completely encircled, conquered, humiliated, degraded, subdued. Every adjective is applicable to Yoruba people as we are talking today. What has he been accused of killing anybody? So it's like that I saying to all the Yoruba people according to what that you can't do anything, you have been conquered, and they are building up that strategy to make sure that they eliminate us. Not even every inflation you are going to be eliminated at our bottom eliminate. I bet our drones don't sight our order of tellers to one ammunition Yoruba provision. All these Anglo-Francophone mercenaries, they are strategizing on how they are going to come, how to happen in the Yoruba. Oh my word, you rather Burundi law. Strategy Bashema so far one baba watama but si gbogbo ti won but they can't come and fight our by come kidnap us. Our life is in danger of being completely exterminated and completely destroyed on the land of Yoruba land. This is the reality.
Yes.
Mr. But we have to be
you and I know each other very, very well for years, decades. And I want to say this, that we will continue, we men of the press will continue to generate the forum where we can discuss issues like this. And I'm sure people like Barrister Olufemi are going to be they'll be very happy to come on board to discuss, because I'm sure I can imagine that they know more than business of law, and they can contribute. So we will come to that, I can assure you. But unfortunately, on this particular this forum, as we speak, we are discussing the issue of attempted extradition of a man, a hero, the man of the moment, and that we need to let the government understand that they cannot afford to try that kind of thing. Try it, the likelihood that they're going to fail is there, and the likelihood that they're going to get the wrath of the international community is also there. And that's why we are trying to shed more light. We are not threatening them, we are not running the government for them. But like Barrister Olufemi said, this is we can sensitize them, we can tell them that don't make the mistake, because all what they need to put together as evidence to society is just not there. So this man has not been found guilty in any form of shame, not even in his country. So not to talk that, and what is left to Benin government is that they are looking for somebody they want to kill. They did not manage, they did not get him to kill in his country. Now the guy is a fugitive or is safe in your country. And I cannot imagine seeing a government of Benin Senate. But that is a final, we can discuss that also later on. Let me go to Barrister Olatayo Ogedengbe. Like I said, there are so many eminent lawyers around to deal with some of your submissions, Olufemi, frankly. Barrister Ogedengbe, your contributions. Can you unmute yourself, Barrister Ogedengbe? Unmute yourself.
Okay, I have unmuted myself.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the first thing I should do is to appreciate Otumba for actually organizing this event. And I want to thank our lawyer from Nigeria for accepting the invitation at a very short notice. And if there's anything, we need to be grateful that we're here. Taba wo ojú ọjọ́, a rí wípé àsìkò tó yẹ kó ní kálukú wà níbi tí a ti máa wà àti jẹ àti mu fún wa nìyí. Kì í ṣe eléyìí, I understand everything my brother Fatai Ogunibido said. But one thing I want to tell us is this, that we need to be what our forebearers called us. In their foresight, they said, Eyini Imole Ogo Gbogbo Adúláwọ̀. The way goes the Yoruba nation, goes the entire black race all over the world. Àníyàn ń ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbéraga torí àìtẹ́yìnká là ń dọwọ́ bò. Secondly, as Ogo Imole Adúláwọ̀, Imole Ogo Adúláwọ̀, whatever we do, if there's anything, we must show our sophistication, our exposure, and everything that makes us pacesetters, trailblazers. We must look at the opportunity to showcase who we are to the rest of the world, even amongst ourselves. When we look back into our history, we listen to words. Those who don't know can go on YouTube and listen to Baba Akintola. Tí Baba bá sọ Òyìnbó, ẹ mọ̀ pé Òyìnbó ló sọ. Tó bá sọ Yorùbá, ẹ mọ̀ pé Yorùbá ló sọ. Tẹ́ bá gbọ́ Baba Awólọ́wọ̀, the same thing. Tẹ́ bá wá gbọ́ Baba Bola Ige, the same thing. Yes, by the grace of God, when we get to Yoruba nation, which I don't have a doubt, we will get there. But whatever tabaso, kaso dada. But lórí nǹkan tá à ń ṣe ní ibi ilé ni, we need to know one thing, which I believe many of us know already. There are two ways for us to accomplish the task ahead of us. Covert and overt operation. One cannot rule the other out. Education is very, very important. I dare not assume that because I know something, somebody else also knows the same thing. No. And in England, where I've lived for many decades, children will ask questions. Why, Daddy? Yoruba ni tó bá bèrè lọ́rọ̀ ló mọ̀ díẹ̀. And we need to put information out there for people to know their rights. Láti kékeré báyìí, náà ni àwọn ẹlẹ́sìn kan tí ń kọ́ ọmọ wọn ní nǹkan kan. A gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ kí àtèwe àtàgbà kán mọ òfin tó gbé wọn dúró. Otherwise, tá bá dáwùjọ, ignorant la máa argue. A sì ní pẹ̀lú bá a ṣe ń lọ lọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú gbogbo nǹkan tí Bùrọ̀dá Fatai sọ. Àwọn kan sì ń prepare fún election 2023 láàrin ọmọ Yorùbá ni o. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ní ikú tó ń pojúbọ ẹni, òwe ara ló ń pa fún ni. Èmi nígbàgbọ́ wípé àrùn tó ń ṣogójì ló ṣọdún, ohun tó ń ṣọ lọ́yàdé, gbogbo ọlọ́yà ló ń ṣe. Wọ́n ní kì í ṣe lẹ́wọ̀n, ló wà lẹ́wọ̀n bí ń ṣe gbogbo ara lé ẹ̀. Òun ló jẹ́ káwá ń bí ilé nítorí Ìgbòho Òòṣà, ọmọ Adéyẹmọ. A man who bailed the cat. So the legality of his attempted extradition is something of interest that we must discuss. And our action doesn't stop here. It goes beyond this platform. Some will be overt, some will be covert. And if we're not equipped with information, how do you begin to engage people? This is why we encourage the recording of this meeting. We want it to go viral. The basic foundation of anything we would discuss is what we would discuss with other people, is what is being given out here. Many people don't even know what extradition is, what it entails. At what jurisdiction do you start extradition? You understand what I'm saying? These are very, very important issues. Because if we have to engage people, we must show ourselves to be people of knowledge. And if we don't, people just look at us as a non-entity. and it doesn't demonstrate the person we claim to be. Ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo gbogbo adúláwọ̀. So àjọ gbogbo wa lọ́lọ́run fún lẹ́bùn. Ẹni tó bá lè kéde lórí rédíò kó kéde. Ẹni tó bá lè kọ átíkù kó kọ átíkù. Gbogbo ọ̀nà kọ́nà tí gbogbo wa bá mọ̀ lórí ìjàngbara Yorùbá àti bọ́n ṣe máa fi brọ́dà wa sílẹ̀ níbi tó wà. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí bára wa sọ̀rọ̀. And individually, whatever we can do, let's do it. And ẹ jọ̀ọ́ onígbàgbọ́ ni mí, mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ ká kọrin kan. Ìjà dópin, ogun ti tán. Abẹ́gẹ̀, ẹ má jẹ́ ká bára wa jà. Ìjà láàrin Yorùbá ó ti pọ̀ jù. Mìyẹ́tì aláàbára wọn já o. Àsìkò ti tó gẹ́ kí gbogbo wa ká wà focused. Tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n ti sọ̀rọ̀ òfin ni, tó bá jẹ́ pé ọ̀rọ̀ òfin ni, ẹ jẹ́ ká dúró síbẹ̀ kí gbogbo wa ṣe. Tó bá jẹ́ pé diplomacy ni ká dúró síbẹ̀. Ṣé báwọn Yorùbá ní ọ̀nà kan ọ̀wọ́jà? Ibi tó kọsẹ́ nìkan, ẹ̀yìn ló kọsẹ́ lómi. And paríparí, wọ́n ní inú ọjà là ń lọ, èrò ọjà ẹ̀ paramọ́. Àwọn olùlọ sọ́nà sínú ọjà, àwa ọmọ Yorùbá, regardless of what part or let me say what corner we enter the market, we're going there. Àwọn èrò ọjà tó ní kàn paramọ́, àwọn ni Fúlàní. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fi ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ rẹ̀ bàgbó, ká sọ fàlejò kó lọ. Ó jẹ́ nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barrister Ogidengbe. This is well, one of the directors of Directorate. Who are behind the wheel, doing a great job, making things happen, and we always recognize and appreciate them. Eshegwan Barrister Ogidengbe. Now, again, I want to go to a couple of other questions with our guest before we are allowed to ask questions again. I want to say we may have another about 30 minutes to go. Is that okay with you, Barrister Olufemi? Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Barrister Olufemi. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Yeah, as you heard from the last speaker, he said it.
Yes.
Most of us, well, I mean, I'm not one of them, I'm a pensioner. But most people who are attending this meeting today, some of them are taking time off. And most of them are in diaspora, trying to fix the mess, the problem people like you and many other Nigerians are going through, especially the Yorubas. I mean, we need to be specific here. It's not because what we want, the values we want for the Yorubas are not the same values for the Northerners. And we have nothing against that. That's exactly why we are insisting that let us do our own because calculation west or tí àwọn Northerners bá fẹ́ mọ́ 11 years kan fi ṣe ìyàwó tó bá máa fi pé díọ̀ 15 kò ti bí wọn 5, so be it. Wàhálà wọn ni tán bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn lọ sí school fine. Tí wọ́n bá jẹ́ pé tán fún wọn ní kùnú láàárọ̀ túwó lálẹ́ fine. So tí bó bá fẹ́ máa kọ́lé káàkiri tí ò fẹ́ fix Owerri, so good luck to them. But we Yorubas, we are so proud. We know we cannot afford to let our things, the one we have, most of the things we have, share brains, resources, to continue to get rotten and wasted. We can't afford it. And I don't think that is too much a demand from people of Yoruba extractions to say, you know what, enough is enough. Because we've gone through this for how many years? 60-something years after independence. Kamale to my head of state to come to life. Hello, we find it's not only, I mean, we find it difficult to live with that kind of thing. We can't continue to deal with it, and that's why I believe this Yoruba nation campaigners or campaign, we are doing the right thing because we've tried many times to wanting to fix the problem through restructuring, through this, and let us sit down and talk. Even the constitution the contracted constitution, we try to fix it, but the people who are beneficiary, people who are benefiting from it, refuse to want you to sit down and talk about it. And somebody like me will now sit down and say the grandchildren of will now in another 30 years say, Baba, what did your grandfather do? I want to tell my grandchildren that I've tried my best and we are going to succeed. By the time about come to the world of Yoruba nation, they're going to be in a better place. And I have no doubt in my mind, and I deliberately asking you the question, tell me one good thing. One good thing that you want to tell me about Nigeria. You've been on your seat there almost about 35 times, and that's exaggeration, not human. So what are we talking about? So we want to take our own people to a better place where we can develop and look like a place like China, like German, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and many civilized countries. We don't want to be a country where we don't have modern transportations. We don't want to have a country where there's going to be everybody going to dig wells. Who does that? And it's sad to note that with the brains and the resources that are in any Yoruba land, we can't afford anybody just to continue to do silly things to take it away from us. We are not going to allow that. And that's, I think I need to make that statement for somebody like you to take when you have your meetings again. Now, tell me, somebody alluded to, it has happened before, they could do it to, what do you think was the remedy? If they try that silly thing, what's the remedy? Don't worry, I know it may be a security thing, but just give us a rough idea of what do you think we should be doing, we should be looking at.
Okay, sir, I want to be very clear on the question. So if they try what? Is it like what was done with
because the way it is, I've just said to you in my presentation, in my moderating this program, that we have countries in Africa where somebody in Cameroon has been there for almost 75 years since the president. We have people in other countries, in other parts of the country, even Ghana, that you think is doing better. People are still selling. People that are supposed to be in schools are still selling, are still hawking pure water and all that kind of things. You know, girls are being still degraded. They're still not being treated as human beings, and the farmers are not getting any better deal. Pensions are not being paid in Nigeria. The pensioners have not been getting their dues. The last 9 years, people are dying Monday to Friday, and people are denied virtually everything of this. That's in Nigeria. Everything they are denied of. And I don't want to start comparing myself with Liberia. Sorry, I'm not being greedy. I don't want to care about what is going on in Sierra Leone. I don't want to talk about New Guinea. I don't want to talk about Uganda. Yes, Sierra Leone. I mean, all these things. I'm talking about Nigeria and, about Yoruba land that we want for ourselves because we have tried. So I'm saying we want to do everything to make sure nobody take advantage of us. I want to see that Sunday Igboho is not clandestinely or cynically or whatever you say, take it to Nigeria. What you, the lawyer, what do you think we should be doing? Might be a little bit security question, but please take advantage and use your own word to tell my audience. Did you get it?
Well, sir. I would start by saying that, and which is the crust of what I've been saying since we started this conversation, that we should up on the saying that prevention is better than cure. You know, we should take steps, just like Leonard Senior Ogedembe Esquire said, to act both overtly and covertly, because this is the time for us to see that we actually take lawful steps to ensure that it's not unlawfully extradited. And saying that it's not lawfully extradited simply means that it's not extradited because, as far as the law is right now, the position of the law is that it should not be extradited. Because if by any means or by any reason Nigeria succeeds in extraditing him, you know, I do not know what the future holds, but from the handwriting on the wall, from what we can see from the projection so far, we can see that not guaranteed that he would have a fair trial. It is not guaranteed that he would have an expeditious trial. We don't have to go far. We have already seen the way the trial of the gentleman from the Southeast that was brought back to Nigeria, had gone. And we know that that is not, as it stands right now, I mean, that sort of trial should have been done in alliance with, international best practice. I'm not saying that the trial is not, I'm not going to comment on that. That matter is sub judice. I have no right to talk about that. But the way it was brought into Nigeria and all of that, and the law has been made very, very clear. The law is very, very clear. If there is any inkling that the party that is seeking his repatriation or extradition may not give him fair hearing or a fair trial, then that extradition should not be permitted. Now, we have said a lot, we've said a lot about the things that have happened in Nigeria, about people who lost their lives, both notable people, popular people, ordinary people, as you put it earlier, relatives of you and I who have been killed under unscrupulous and questionable circumstances. You are very, very clear. Mr. Fatai earlier was very emotional, and he has every right to be emotional, about all of this. Indeed, we have suffered injuries. Indeed, we have suffered losses. And the government of Nigeria has a responsibility to ensure and guarantee the safety of the Nigerian people. So when we begin to see that it appears that the government of Nigeria is not emphasizing the safety of the Nigerian people, or it is not, committing itself to the safety of all of Nigerian people, then there's a problem. And I do believe that that was where Chief Sunday Adeyemo, stood his ground and spoke for his own people. And when I say his own people, I mean the people, of the Yoruba nation. Now, the Yoruba people, just like myself, I'm a Yoruba man, I can say candidly that Yoruba people are my people, and I'll not be offending any law, neither will I be offending any ideology or any concept of sovereignty, right? Because a Yoruba man is a Yoruba man, and the Yoruba people are his people. So if Sunday Adeyemo, stands up and says that this is not right, people are suffering, people are being killed, let's stand against this, it is within his rights to do that. And unfortunately, the Nigerian government seems to have shown itself as being intolerant to, that move for self-preservation. So I would preach that it's better, for us to, to follow the quest of ensuring, by legal activism, by legal advocacy, by putting up the right words, by engaging the right organizations to ensure that the Chief Sunday Adeyemo is not extradited, because the law in this circumstance says that a person in the guise and in the statute, within the definition of the person that Chief Sunday Adeyemo is today, should not be extradited to a country within the definition of the country that Nigeria is today under the extradition law. So that's what we have to do. We have to be very active. We have to be very alert. This event is all about alertness, socio-political alertness. We have to be very, very alert, and we have to respond lawfully to any representation whatsoever that wants to compel his extradition, because then it will be offending not just municipal law, but international law, international convention. And not only that, it would also be offending his fundamental rights as a Nigerian, his fundamental right as a person, and his right to self-preservation and self-determination. I mean, today, I'm a little bit alarmed at the approach that we have actually used, or that we have disposed to issues surrounding self-determination. Nigeria is not the first country, to have people who have sought for self-determination. We have had countries who have sought for successfully and has undergone self-determination without any form of violence, right? You know, referendums were conducted and, you know, opinions were gathered, you know, in a civilized way, in a manner that did not call for violence, that did not call for any form of hostility or disunity. We have had nations, you know, engage their governments and secure self-determination. Why can we not do the same in this part of the world? Why can we not do the same in Nigeria? If a group of persons seek for self-determination, why can the government not gainfully and meaningfully engage this group of persons and then, you know, do the necessary referendum and take the necessary steps that ought to be taken and then see for itself, you know, whether or not this movement, you know, can, you know, be progressively realized. And, you know, earlier you talked about the endemic poverty, the rate of poverty that we suffer, you know, in Nigeria, it's part of the world, and, you know, all the issues surrounding the fact that it appears that the government or the laws are just meant for a particular set of persons and not for a particular set of persons. You know, it is indeed unfortunate, but it is even written. It's written through our laws, through our history as a people. I was going to tell Mr. Fatai earlier that indeed he got a lot of things right, but not everything seems as it is. We are Africans and we have an history. Unfortunately, in the course of our existence, a lot of things have gone into writing our history that has taken out a lot of richness in our African history, in our Yoruba history, in the Igbo history, in the Hausa history, that have been taken out from the collective history of the African or the Nigerian man. And conveniently, our history has been situated within a scope of time that's only satisfied a particular narrative rather than the other narrative of the rest of the world or the rest of the Nigerian states. The history that we have defines us as a very tenacious person, just as the learned colleague earlier said, as very, very tenacious group of persons. You know, we are rich in different areas. You know, so it is really, really unfortunate that today we have found ourselves, and I was going to tell Mr. Fatai, with all due respect, that I see the cup from the point of view of half full rather than half empty. Because really, in as much as we have gone through a lot, and I'm telling you, personally, I know what I have had to go through. So when I say that we have gone through a lot, I'm not under-emphasizing the things that we have gone through as a people, as Nigerian, as Yoruba people. I'm not. Because I know the things that we have had to experience and go through, you know, in Nigeria. But then I do not want to say that we are a conquered people. I do not want to say that that we are shrouded in, or we are the word that was used, conquered people. You know, people have their own intentions, people have their own views, people have the things that they want to do. You know, then a renowned jurist, he said something. He said, even the devil does not know the intent, the content of the mind of a man. So yes, you judge people by their actions. And by the actions that we have seen so far, we've seen that there's been a dastardly and sinister move, you know, against a particular set of people in Nigeria, you know, who have suffered. And this suffering has cut across both from the north to the south, right? But then, we as Yoruba people, in the spirit of self-determination, we have written, Yoruba have written and said, okay, this is what we want, that's what we want. This is within their rights as Yoruba people, as human beings, as persons. But then we cannot then go over and above or beyond that to begin to, you know, categorically say that, okay, this is the position, or we are conquered people, or this, because this is an international platform, and we cannot say that. I disagree with that with all due respect. We cannot say that.
I agree with you.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. I agree with
Yes.
you, and is the Secretary General of my of our platform, and he knows that we agree to disagree.
Yes.
I need to read one or two things out to everybody here. Somebody wrote here and said we focus on Yoruba leaders first as the governors, political reps, senators, obas, if the share of our position of self-determination, if not. Now, I need to quickly say this. And this is born from experience. My experience as a Nigerian before, I'm a Yoruba man now, and also as with little education I have, which have progressed to a point where I am today. 99% of our leaders are from us. Obasanjo is not a Jamaican. He's not from Chile. He's not from Congo. He's a Nigerian. Most African, especially Nigerians, the leadership they have is like they get what they deserve because they are from us. Obasanjo has no sympathy for ordinary man. Tinubu has no sympathy for ordinary man. If they have sympathy for ordinary man, they should by now lay legacies which are all laid, which are all made. We cannot see their legacies. Awolowo was not poor, but at least he offered that kind of opportunity to millions of people in Nigeria, not even Yorubas. I want to be challenging this forum. Whoever knows what Obasanjo have done for Nigerians, please, let us talk. It's an opportunity to please challenge me. I want to know what Tinubu has done for Nigerians. As we speak, apart from organizing, apart from allowing some people to put sachet of gari with sugar and 2,000 naira to go and get them involved in election and get them suffer for 4 years. Said, he's the only man I know that said, I want to get the mandate of the people. He never got the mandate. So that was he said to Gowon. I interviewed Gowon and he said, I want to get the mandate of the people, organize election. But he doesn't know that election is set out to be corrupted, to be rigged, to be all that kind of thing. Yes, he wasn't an angel, no doubt about that. But all the point I'm making here is the question that we should get involved with our governors. These are people, they are extremely over greedy in their ways of life. They care that you have life. And I don't want anybody here to say, oh, much you bought water, much you generator, much you can, much you go where. That's not kind of people we are talking about. And these people who want to continue ruling us are the people who think that way. We don't want that kind of people anymore. That's my big. There's another talk here. Amazing Toyin. Where are the leaders? Who are they? Let every Yoruba citizen become the change we desire. We can influence the grassroots in many ways, and that is what I know we must do. And that's exactly what we are doing. Alagba, Amazing Toyin. We have embarked on that. We are not going to go back. Might be a little bit tedious. And like the barrister said, we are so tenacious. We are very, very resilient. We know what we are doing. And we want to tell the world that here is a race. Here is a race that has it all. Nigeria, le ma gbọ́ pé àwọn nìkan náà send the kìnìún kan aircraft lọ sí moon. Battery ò jẹ́ kó padà wáyé because wọ́n ti kó jẹ́ kó tó launch it. What are we talking about? How many years does it take? 16 point something billion over electricity. Why should electricity be an issue? Why should children go to school be an issue? Why should good roads be an issue? Why should Medicare be an issue? So what are we talking about? And somebody somewhere among Yoruba people, and we are not getting, we should continue to endure. We can't. And I'm speaking for myself and for millions of people who think I like the way I do. We cannot continue to allow our come use whatever resources they have to oppress us. We said enough is enough, and that is the truth. So with all this, I have no doubt in my mind that a lot of people will still don't want to join this race, but I have no doubt also in my mind that as time goes on, as we progress, they will come on board. Probably they will be charged more money to enter for their tickets. So finally, and like I said, I'm going to still allow a couple of people to ask questions. Now, Alabolufemi, I want to thank you very, very much. Because yes, it's another thing. It's another thing to invite people out of fear. They don't want to get involved, and if they get involved, they're probably not equipped. They don't have the tools. They don't have what it takes to energize people who want to be energized. I know that from experience. We want to appreciate you. I must tell the whole world that you are called within a short space of time. When we believe that we should put this to the world, we should let the world know that a country, a member of the United Nations, is about to embark on it. I mean, not. I don't want to use the very bad word, on a journey that may have, fought.
In a way, in fact, we are even doing the Nigerian state a favor, because doing this without without missing words at all is also to help the Nigerian state not to make a mistake, and to also further sanitize the international community, not just to sensitize, but also to sanitize, to clean up, because there's a lot of mess. There's a lot of mess over there, and Africa should not be the one, committing or creating all those mess. We should be able to put our house in order. We cannot be responsible for everything that is not right. And so it's part of our collective duty, even as Africans and as Nigerians and as Yoruba people, to see that we make sure that we don't continue to allow ourselves to be subjected to such impunity, because it's going to be impunious if we allow things like this to continue. And it is also audacious. It's encouraging that we have also decided to go about it the way we're going about it. Just like Ogedengbe Esquire, Leonard Senior said earlier, we're intelligent people. We are not just random people. So, it's important that whatever we're doing, we follow through and we lay proper examples, proper precedents, so that it can be seen, that we actually know what we are doing and where we are coming from, how we are going about it. I was speaking to a sitting governor some days ago, and he said something that's very instructive. He said, here in Nigeria, we practice politics of sentiment. Sadly, that is true. We allow our sentiments to guide our judgments. And politics and sentiments are not supposed to be mixed. Politics is objective. It's an objective test. You must subject it to that objective test. It's not about how I feel about it. It's not about how it benefits me. It's about what is the best, for the people. It's about what is the best for the Nigerian state. It's about what is the best for these people that I have now come to be their president. I have now come to be their leader. Unfortunately, what we have found is that a lot of our leaders they are rather rulers than leaders, because you can be a ruler by accident, but you cannot be a leader by accident. To be a leader, the people must invest in you in legitimacy. It's called a sovereign trust. And the people invest in you, repose in you, trusting you that you will protect them. And that is the basis of social contract, But we cannot return back to the state of nature where life was nasty, brutish, and short. That is what we have experienced in the course of a few months to years, and we cannot survive in that environment. That is why we have government. So yes, it's important that we continue in that line. We take both overt and covert actions. We engage necessary institutions, we engage our leaders, we engage international organizations, very, very important. And we also go to courts, both locally and internationally, and we advance our prayers, our petitions, and we seek justice. I'm sure that there's still justice in this world. No matter what it is, there's still justice in this world. And I believe that having that understanding, we can still thrive and we can achieve something productive out of all of this.
Thank you very much. And to back you up, and that's why we are exercising our rights.
Yes, sir.
What we have. And the only thing we have, judging from the lawless countries in Africa, especially in Nigeria, we are using this to sensitize the whole world, the legal community.
Absolutely, sir.
The charter that is available to us that we can use that, please, and we send this to country like Benin, not to make the mistake of creating problems from themselves, because I have no doubt in my mind there are still countries out there that can use their big tool, the big whip, and say, you know what, you should have not done that. There are a lot of people pulling down in Hague. So I hope and pray that the Republic of Benin understand that. There's someone asking the question of what are we supposed to achieve with this meeting? Probably he came late. The idea of this meeting today is to have this discussion about the attempt Republic du Benin is making. No, well, the Republic of Nigeria making to what's it called? I'm sorry, I have a phone call at the background. It's hardly ring unless there's an issue. Anyway, so Mr. Mason Toyin, I think I've answered your question. So let me take another. Mr. Toyin, you still want to ask your question or the one you put in the chat boxes? I've answered that. Do you want to go ahead and talk, Mr. Mason Toyin?
Yes. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much.
Good.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my name is Toyin Dawodu. I'm based in the US. So my question is, I came late because I got the information about half an hour ago when I woke up.
Yes.
It's about 5 o'clock, 6:30 here in California. So my question is this. I read the same news that you all read yesterday that the Nigerian government is now trying to extradite Chief Igboho. So what can we do, or what are we doing to stop the extradition?
Well, there are two ways to answer your question. There's one conventional, there's another unconventional. But anyway, I will allow my guest, who is
okay, sir,
to answer your question. And then the second question is, you and I, we need to get in touch with one another, and then we can take it. But let me quickly take the conventional approach to your question. My guest, Olufemi Franklin Olufemi, answer your question. Mr. Olufemi.
Yes, please. Sorry, Mr. Toyin, you're just joining us. I think we have exhaustively discussed that in the course of our conversation. In order not to err on the part of repetition, but then I'll just summarize. Like I said, there's a treaty existing between Nigeria and Republic of Benin, and the laws are very, very clear. The law says that the Nigerian state can request that a fugitive, quote unquote, in Benin be repatriated or extradited to Nigeria to face trial. That law is there. And that law also goes forward to say that if there's anything to show, or if the Republic of Benin believes that's the requested country now, believes that for any reason the person that is being extradited is not going to be availed expeditious and fair trial, or that there will be some delay in his trial, then the Republic of Benin may, the law is very, very clear. It says the Republic of Benin is not any obligation to extradite that person to Nigeria. It goes further also to say that if the person is a political offender, that's Article 4 of the extradition treaty between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin, Ghana, and Togo. It says that if the person is a political offender, or the person is actually being requested for on the basis of his beliefs, his religious beliefs, or his race, or his political opinion, then that person should not be extradited to the requesting country. Now, the converse part of that, the other part of that, is that when you say a person should not be extradited, it means that you are effectively saying that the person should be protected from extradition. That's what it means. Because when a person is in another country and is wanted by the requesting country, he himself, like the Black's Law Dictionary defined a refugee, as someone who escaped or leaves a country or flees from a country because of fear of persecution, because he's being persecuted. So where a person is being persecuted, the person has a right to seek asylum somewhere else, to seek protection somewhere else. So the laws are there, and the process is very, very clear. And the law, the ECOWAS law also is very, very clear about the requirements to be furnished by Nigeria or by a requesting nation before extradition can be effected. And some of those requirements, it says that the person must have, been charged for an offense, in the country where he fled from. He must have been charged for an offense. He must be, he must have been convicted. He's either charged, or he's been tried, or he has been convicted, or he was arrested and he escaped from, from arrest, and all of that. So there must have been some criminal elements, that shows that the person is actually a fugitive. In the present case, there's no criminal, as far as I know. Like I said earlier, I can only talk about the things that I know. And from what I know so far, there's no charge against Chief Sunday Adeyemo in any court in Nigeria. There's no trial ongoing against him. He was not arrested and escaped from detention. He did not escape from any detention facility in Nigeria. He has not been convicted of any offense in Nigeria. So all those requirements are not satisfied. And the ECOWAS law says that those requirements must be in place, must be furnished to the country that is being requested to submitting before it can be requested. There are other requirements, but that's just like the more obvious one.
Okay, Barrister.
That basic one has not been satisfied.
Thank you. Barrister, I'm sorry to.
So the awareness of all of this must be brought to the
question, please. Is it possible that the information about extradition was just put out there in the press, and has the Nigerian government actually filed any extradition papers?
Hold on, I think I have. Sorry to quickly answer that question. Pastor Gedengbe, can you unmute yourself and
yes, I am very, very quickly, sir, before Barrister Gedengbe comes in, I also want to chip in very quickly. I said earlier that from the news I read this morning, I have not seen the process, but from what I saw in the news, I saw that they filed a motion for stay of execution of the judgment granted in Ibadan against the federal government and in favor of Chief Sunday Adeyemo. And that judgment, amongst other things, says that he must not be bothered and all of that. And then there's a monetary award in terms of damages against the federal government in favor of Chief Sunday Adeyemo in the sum of 220 billion naira. And they are saying that they cannot pay that money right now. They are seeking for stay on that execution. And in their affidavit, in that application that they filed to court, they said that they have commenced extradition process against Chief Sunday Adeyemo. In that affidavit, I have not seen the affidavit, but that's what I saw in the news. So if that news is anything to go by, and if that is true, it means that they have actually put it in court on record that they have commenced extradition process against Chief Sunday Adeyemo. So if we are to go by that, we say that yes, there's actually a move like that, and it might not just be any kind of jamboree in the media. It's possible that there's actually a move like that to commence extradition process against him. So to that end, I think that should answer that question.
Thank you very much, Barrister Olufemi. I wanted to say something. I will allow Barrister Ogedengbe to say one or two things, and I will go to other people that raised up their hands. Barrister Ogedengbe, what's your quick into what Barrister Olufemi just said? Can you unmute yourself, Barrister Ogedengbe?
Very much. Thank you. Barrister Daudu. Hello, sir. We spoke 2 days ago. You remember? Barrister Daudu.
I think he can hear you. He can hear you. Continue talking.
That's amazing, Tony. I'm not sure he heard me. Anyway, we have this on good authority that there's been an appearance in court in respect of the extradition. We cannot speculate. We know it's authentic.
Yeah. That's correct.
We can take that to the bank.
Yes.
The source is genuine, and a lawyer actually represented Chief Igbo in the particular matter. So the issue as to whether this were just speculations in the face of the newspaper will not suffice. It is real. And in the word of, in the title of Professor Wole Soyinka's book, we should set forth as done. So we're not taking anything with levity. And as regards what we are doing, there are few things that we're doing covertly, and we're not obviously going to divulge that in public.
Yes.
But actions have been taken. Organizations have been contacted. And yes, a few things will be, now is the time for us Kafi or Shikumbiagba. Kinshibuguasho, Lamasalon. But wait, boya speculation if one can be Ileo Kinshi I sorrow. The threat is real. The matter has actually been brought before the court. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, I also quickly want to chip in that I spoke with Benin, Republic of Benin today with 2 different people, and he confirmed that the case was, the application was made, and it was rejected. The application has no stand, but we're still doing this. We're still doing what we are doing, in addition to that the application failed. So just to let the whole world know that I hope the country called Benin does not compromise in any form or shape. And Nigeria also should stop this shenanigans. Now, let me quickly, I'll come to, I don't know whether Amazing Twin got answer to his questions. And like I said, the other aspect of this program, you have my number and I have your number. We can contact and do WhatsApp call with other stakeholders. That is okay with you, Amazing Twin. Sambayo, if I give you 1 minute, would that be okay with you, sir? Can you unmute yourself? Sambayo. Sambayo, if you want to unmute yourself and to take advantage of 1 minute. Okay. I'm not too sure whether Sambayo is there. Let me give Barrister Dr. Janet Fataki another opportunity to contribute. Is it contribution this time or question? Barrister Fataki. Yeah. You have been unmuted, Barrister Fataki.
Right, so I think that's what happened to Sambayo. We were centrally muted. There's no way we can unmute ourselves.
That's the best way to do it, unfortunately.
So when you call us, unmute us first. All right.
All right.
I heard from I wondered the way I came back. Barrister Olufemi, I heard that from what he said, that they put in there that they are doing extradition. So can they really do extradition without any case in court? Can they just wake up and say, this person who is in France or this person who is in Germany, we want him extradited with no action in court that says this person should appear and is not appearing or he has run away? Because they keep referring to fugitive when they talk of Chief Igbo. A fugitive means you are looking for somebody, you ask him to appear, he's running away from the law. So what made him a fugitive? Because if a thief comes to my house and they keep coming and I run away from my house, would that make me a fugitive? Or running to secure my life before these people kill me? So Barrister Olufemi, please, what made Igboho a fugitive? And okay, why this extradition something when there is no criminal judgment that they can use to support it? And why are the attorneys on the side of Chief Sunday Adeyemo not making a motion to dismiss, a summary judgment motion to dismiss for failure to state a course of action?
Well, sir, you know that...
no, sir, I'm Janet.
I said, oh, sorry. Madam.
This is Barrister Janet.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Please, basically, the point that we want to make with respect to everything you said, you are very, very correct with your concerns, with everything you said. You know, about the lawyers, let me start from there. You see, the thing is, Newton said that action and reaction are equal and opposite. Right? Yes. So before the lawyers can actually do something, you know, there must be something to be done. As it stands right now, I am not aware that there's any criminal, like I said earlier, I'm not aware that there's any criminal charge against Chief Sunday Adeyemo. Now, the terminology fugitive is a technical word. It's a legal word. When I was talking earlier, I referred to the Black's Law Dictionary, which is our authority when it comes to definitions. And I said that, okay, this is what fugitive means. This is what refugee means. And I can remember that I also said that if you look at the circumstances of this case, you will see that Chief Sunday Adeyemo does not pass the test of being a fugitive, but rather he should be referred to as a refugee. And refugee not used in a condescending manner, because a lot of times when we use these words, we tend to use them in a particular guise only. It's a technical word, it's a legal word. And you know, the Black's Dictionary says it is where a person is fleeing from a country from persecution. Persecution can be death, it can be, you know, famine, it can be tyranny, it can be anything.
Yeah.
It can be any form. So where a person is sleeping in his house, and you know, all of a sudden, his house can no longer be called a home or a house. His house has turned to, quote unquote, a death trap. That person can escape and run for his dear life. It is self-preservation, you know. So that person now cannot be said to be a fugitive. It can be said to be a refugee in the wordings, in the meaning of that wordings, in the law. I am a lawyer, I have to speak from the area of law. The law says that a refugee is someone that is fleeing from persecution. So to that extent, that person can escape. But if you can bring before me any charge, criminal charge now.
Exactly.
Or any trial ongoing, or any conviction that has been secured by courts, that has been delivered by courts, or any arrest that has been properly conducted and the person has jumped bail, or the person has escaped from detention and all of that, and you can say that these are the circumstances of the case of Chief Sunday Adeyemo, then I would agree with you that yes, indeed, he is a fugitive. But to the extent that all of this cannot be provided, he has not been arrested, as far as I know. He has not been detained by any means. He did not escape from detention. He has not been charged by any court. He's not on trial in any court in Nigeria, and he is not a convict. To that extent, he does not pass the test. I said it earlier, and I'm repeating it again, without any iota of doubt. He does not pass the test of a fugitive.
But could there have been an ex parte judgment? Do you know? You use ex parte in Nigeria, right?
Yes, you use ex parte in Nigeria, but in a criminal charge, you know, even to charge a person by in absence, there's a process for that, you know. So we cannot get an ex parte judgment in a criminal charge.
I'm just wondering what gave them the courage, the audacity. I mean, I don't know. Where do they get their own rule of law that they are using? I don't understand.
I think I could come in here. I think I said it a couple of minutes ago that we have countries in Africa, especially in Nigeria, where laws is just a kind of a cover-up, where the arms of government is just a kind of a ruse. Once the people get to power, they rule like men, they rule like rulers, they just want to terrorize you, and you cannot do anything about it. And that's why some of these questions may not be very easily discernible. It may be very difficult for us to continue.
You know, after the arrest of...
We are dealing with very lawless set of people. That's it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If I may just chip in very quickly to what you just said, sir. After the arrest of Chief MQ Abiola, after he won the election and he was arrested, and he was being interviewed by BBC, you know, he said something that's very instructive, something that I, as a child, growing up, always wish were wrong or untrue about Nigeria. And I've grown up, even gone to study law because I want to believe that, no, this cannot be right about Nigeria. And what he said was that this is Nigeria, and in Nigeria, anything can happen, you know. To say that anything can happen is a very, very strong word. You know, this is a person that just won an election and then is being arrested. And that's, that was all he had to say. And I used to believe that Nigeria has grown past that stage, that we have evolved over time, that we have come into some level of realization of our democracy, and that we are becoming, a nation that would be a pride of Africa. But recent events beg to differ. Recent events, like a root shock proves to the contrary, and it in fact appears as though we have only succeeded in going back, several steps backward, rather than going forward and moving ahead. So yes, we have very, very legitimate concerns. We have very, very legitimate issues, and we have issues with, governments that do not respect the rule of law, and that is a big problem, because to address that issue, it's almost impossible. Government needs to obey the rule of law, or we are all like sacrificial lambs, offered on the altar of impunity, and there's nobody safe. That's why the noble writer wrote, "No longer at ease." We are no longer at ease, things are falling apart and the center cannot hold. Order is sitting on his head, anarchy has broken loose, things are happening, and we are facing these things. We are in the middle of a very big problem. And if we cannot pretend that we do not know, we cannot pretend that these things are not happening. That's why people like you and I must come together and begin to canvass a way to forge ahead and to progress for the sake of not just ourselves, but our children after us and generations that are yet unborn. Because it's our duty as a people to ensure that the world that we live in is livable for other generations. It's selfish for us to destroy this world for people that are not yet born. We have a duty, we have a sacred trust to the people that are yet to be born to make sure that these people enjoy the world that we leave behind. What are we doing in that direction?
Thank you very much.
That's why we're here.
Very much. That's exactly our motto. That's what we are working at, and I have no doubt in my mind that with the kind of brains, resources we have, we will get there. We will achieve it. No doubt about that. Mr. Sambayo, are you available now to ask a question? 1 minute, please. Mr. Sambayo. Mr. Sambayo, can you unmute yourself? Mr. Sambayo, I don't think Mr. Sambayo is there. Because I've asked him to unmute and there's no response. Alpha Dauda, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question? And yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I'm Alpha Dauda from Sangota, member of Udra International Congress. I have the privilege to join this meeting because of I'm not a lawyer, but I learn a lot from this gathering. My question is this: like this repatriate of Holy Sunday go to Nigeria, are they going to try him for the semi-Baghdad because the issue has been raised, or they will carry him go to Abuja? That is number one. The second question is that concerns the Benin Republic. I want to ask from a lawyer in our midst, like how many days the government of Benin Republic have power to hold Olusegun Igboho without letting know his fate? Either he want to go to the prison, or he want to is on trial, or why are they still holding him till now? That is my question.
Thank you very much, Alpha Daudu. We appreciate your question. Mr. Barrister Olufemi, can you answer his question, please?
Yes. Basically, with respect to where, in the event that Chief Sunday Igboho is brought to Nigeria, where he's going to be tried. Well, I think the federal government will most likely try him in Abuja, as we can see in the case of Mazin Adukanu tried in Abuja here. Most likely, I cannot speak for the government. He can be tried in Abuja, he can be tried in Ibadan, he can be tried in any of those two places. But I see the federal government trying in Abuja. That's most likely the turn of events. That's first. Then secondly, on whether or not the Beninese government should allow, the second question is a little bit sketchy, but let me just try to answer the question. I cannot speak for the Beninese government, and in as much as I do not know, because as far as we know right now, Chief Sunday Igboho is safe in Benin Republic, and I think he is there, is protected by that government. I don't know if he wants to leave that place right now. I'm not privy to all that information. But what I think that we are addressing now, which is the issue that is on the table, is whether or not Nigeria can actually, push or appeal to or apply to or request of the Benin government to extradite him to Nigeria. So,
okay. One of those good things about Nigeria, power failure. Now, okay. Now, Mr. Sampaio, I got your message. I've called you a couple of times. I mean, you're not responding. Can you unmute yourself and ask your question now, please? Mr. Sampaio. Mr. Sampaio, do you want to ask your question? Because I got your message that you've been trying to. Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Sampaio? Mr. Sampaio, okay. Let me go to Barrister Ogedengbe, where Mr. Sampaio unmutes himself. I will allow him to ask you his question. Barrister Ogedengbe.
Oh, thank you, Ochoba Eshigosa.
Thank you, sir.
Mo fẹ́ kún Barrister Olúfẹ́mi lẹ́yìn ní ìbéèrè tí brother wa Alpha Dauda Apomi tí wọ́n béèrè. Àwọn ilé ẹjọ́ Kútọ̀nù wọ́n ti ṣèwádìí lórí ẹ̀sùn tí wọ́n fi kan olóyè. Wọ́n dẹ̀ rí pé kò sí nǹkan kan níbẹ̀. Wọn ò rí ẹ̀sùn kankan tí wọ́n lè fi sọ pé wọ́n jẹ̀bi. Adájọ́ tó ṣe ìwádìí ẹ̀sùn tí wọ́n fi kàn wọ́n, ó ti fún wọn ní àṣẹ wípé kí wọ́n lọ apply sí ọ̀dọ̀ judge mi. System of government tí wọ́n ń lò ní Kútọ̀nù ó yàtọ̀ fún ti Nàìjíríà. Adájọ́ yẹn ti ní kí wọ́n lọ apply fún freedom release olóyè. The problem is this: ibi tí political maneuvering tó ti wọnú ẹ̀ nìyí. Adájọ́ yẹn kò jẹ́ kán rí òun, ó make her unavailable. And the only other person that can look into the matter is the Minister of Justice for that nation. Àwọn méjèèjì wọ́n deliberately make her unavailable. So, ìgbésẹ̀ tá à ń gbé lórí yẹn ní agbára Ọlọ́run kọ́ lọ fún wa ní ìṣẹ́gun. Nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ tí olóyè sì wà ń bẹ̀ ni kò sí ẹ̀sùn kankan. They did not find any impropriety, no illegality against Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho Oòṣà. So bó ṣe rí nìyẹn. A mọ̀ wípé òótọ́ òun ló máa lékè. Ọlọ́run á dẹ̀ ṣàánú fún wa. So nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn, brother.
Ẹ ṣé alàgbà Barrister Ogedengbe. Kò sẹ́ni tí gbogbo eléyìí déèyàn ti study lọ rárá. Kò sẹ́ni tí gbogbo nǹkan báyìí ò yà lẹ́nu. Because ordinary àwọn alápatà gangan pé nígbà tí ò ṣe nǹkan kan, kí ló dé tán dè mọ́lẹ̀ láti yọjú? Èèyàn ní láti lọ study lọ láti ti rí question yẹn. So you are right. Kò yé wa bẹ̀tẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ, bóyá mo sọ lóyìnbó mi ò dá ni. Ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà, àwọn ìjọba Áfíríkà, ẹranko ni most of them wọ́n yìí ń ṣe. Tó máa gbọ́ kán wá bá mi jà. Ìwà tó ń hù kò bá ti àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ civilized country lọ. Because àwọn ní court wọ́n máa sọ pé ìpàtàn ní listen ní tó bá wọn náà máa ń ṣe. so yẹn pẹ̀lú nǹkan tó ń da gbogbo wàhálà ìlú tí ò fi jẹ́ ká rójú kiri because tòótọ́ ó ń gbà tí ó máa lọ oṣù mẹ́rin náà ti da jókòó síbẹ̀ ẹ ní ẹ mú ẹ ká nǹkan kan wọn lọ́wọ́ ẹ tún take time ẹ tún lọ investigate lọ́tún lọ́sìn kankan ẹ rí nǹkan tẹ fẹ́ ká wọn lọ́wọ́ yóò dá ẹ fílẹ̀ bẹ̀ fún ẹ dẹ ibi ó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ fílẹ̀ bẹ̀ tí again like I said ṣe bá Áfíríkà ni wá ṣe bí dúdú ni wá àwọn asọnilẹ́nu tán máa ń jẹ́ kí ó máa dàbí ìpè gbogbo dúdú ni wọn ò pé nìyẹn mo hó pé àwọn tí wọ́n tẹ́lẹ̀mí àlóhùn ògbọ́n Yorùbá dáadáa mọ́ bá ṣe ń ṣera wa ò dáa ìyẹn jákú ni most of us were some of us were lawyer Olúfẹ́mi we are coming to an end of this gathering. I'm very happy. I want to appreciate your coming, Amaraba. And one good thing I found out, Nipe, some of the lawyers so far that have been coming to our program, this platform, are people who are also willing to jump, to travel with us, to go with us, to follow us. And despite the fact that maybe we are a little bit of worry, come on, on tí bá gbà wọn lórí òtítọ́ máa lékè ni. So mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ yín, mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ wà lórí program ilé ni. Amaraba, it was an emergency. I deliberately did not want to put àwọn information kan síbẹ̀, but at least àwọn tó tètè dé àti even ẹ̀yin tẹ́ dé late gangan ẹ ti gbọ́ nǹkan tí a ti ń sọ látàárọ̀. A ti ń sọ látàárọ̀ ni pé Olóyè Sunday Igboho Nàìjíríà fẹ́ kí wọ́n gbọ́n kó níbi tán wà, wọ́n gbọ́n wálé kán lè fi ìyà jẹ àbí wọ́n fẹ́ pa wọ́n torí wọ́n fẹ́ pa ní on July 1st ni èmi ò mọ́ta máa ní láti hide yẹn, wọ́n fẹ́ pa wọ́n torí ẹ̀rìbọ̀ tí Nàìjíríà bá ní kán mú wálé ẹ má fi example jágbáyà kan wọ́n fẹ́ pa wọ́n ni because wọ́n fẹ́ pa wọ́n ọ̀hún ní lọ sílé Sunday Igboho ní July 1st tẹlifẹ́ lọ arrest ní odd hour. Inú mi dẹ̀ dùn tí lọ́ọ̀yà wa sọ lé ni pé even at the time there are times and space of whatever tí ẹ máa ní láti put in place kẹ́ tó lọ arrest anybody. They went the time they went with the only one aim of just to kill him. Thank God wọn ò rí pa. Wọ́n pààyàn méjì síbẹ̀, which I think as far as I'm concerned that's murder, that's the killing, not that people die. Ìyẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n tún kó àwọn èèyàn wa àwọn ọmọ wa tó ń ṣe tí wọ́n rò kó wọn sínú ìgbèkùn ẹbẹ̀ sí fìyà jẹ wọ́n. Oríṣiríṣi nǹkan burúkú tí Nàìjíríà ń ṣe fún àwa ọmọ Yorùbá ṣèmi ó dẹ̀ ń dùn mí kò dẹ̀ tún dùn mí torí àwọn ọmọ tí rí ọlárí kan tán wà ń jọba àwọn náà hu irú ìwà burúkú tí wọ́n ń hù. Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ tí wọ́n á béèrè pé ṣáwọn Sàràkí ọ̀rọ̀ lárí ni ṣé àwọn Dágbà Fáyẹmí wọ́n rí ibẹ̀ tí irú èèyàn tán jẹ́ náà fi ń hàn wá. Láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà Olúwa dá wà láre àwa tá a wà ní ìrìn àjò yìí pé a máa gbalẹ̀ Yorùbá fúnra wa àti fún àwọn ọmọ wa. Olúwa dá láre kò sáṣetì fún Lédùmarè. I believe in that. Bí bá ṣe ń bá lọ yìí number one, I'm happy many of us have agreed we are not going to go back. We just need to use all the resources standing not to get what we want. Barrister Olufemi, we are all very, very grateful to you. We appreciate you, especially with our expertise oríṣiríṣi area of law that he dispenses. We appreciate that all together. And I want to appreciate everybody here, all the eminent jurists, our other member of the public, different area of considerations that are here today. Thank you all. Unless otherwise, in another 2 minutes, there's a question. I will have to declare I'll give the final word to Barrister Olufemi. Just 2 more minutes to round up his presentation today, and then we'll call it a day. Barrister Olufemi, do you still want to enjoy 2 more minutes? Àbí ẹ rò pé ká fi lẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀? Mr. Rainza. Mute yourself. Mute yourself, Barrister Olufemi.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, sir.
I've said more than enough.
Yeah, well, on the lighter note, actually, on the lighter note, when I looked at the time and I saw how long we've been enjoying ourselves here, I was thinking if we have to progress further, I'll just send you a mail of my.
the good thing
so that any additional minutes will be paid for.
The good thing about that shit at the that machine, okay, I some bill, my worry. But then it's
a lighter note actually.
Okay,
I've enjoyed having this conversation with us. I have equally learned on this side of the divide, and I'm sure that we all have been able to come to the realization that a nationalistic idea is not the endeavor of one person. It's not the endeavor of just one or two persons. You know, whether you are thinking Nigeria or you are thinking in the direction of the Yoruba nation, it's incumbent on us to, you know, come together, you know, and find a meeting point to forge ahead. And we must emphatically understand and appreciate the beauty of the human life. And we must, by deliberate design, protect it, because there's nothing more important than human life. By any means possible, within our legal machineries, within our legal disposal, we must protect life. We must not be seen as the people who do not appreciate the life of a person. This is the basis for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This is the basis for the Nigerian Constitution, which is made by the people, not the government, but the people of Nigeria. And the people of Nigeria are not just some people, it's all of the people of Nigeria. And that is why these are the things that Chief Sunday Igboho, you know, saw, that he felt very, very rightly that the Nigerian architecture, the setup of our society has offended himself and the people of Yoruba race. And that was why he decided that he was going to speak up against such offense. You know, and we must all appreciate that the gentleman has decided to stand for the sanctity of the human person, the sanctity of the human life. And the human life should be guarded as sacrosanct, as sacred, you know, under any circumstances. And that's why we're here today. And I thank you all for your input. I thank you for directing our minds in different directions. All the things that we have said, I believe that all of this is being recorded, and all of this we can have a transcription of this meeting that would also, you know, form part of our representations, you know, in the different places where you are making tenacious representations, you know, for the sanctity of life, and in this particular case, the life of Chief Sunday, to ensure that his life is protected, to ensure that he's not victimized, harassed, or intimidated for speaking out for the Yoruba people. So that's my summary. I want to say thank you very much for your time.
We want to thank you again. And I can tell you this meeting like this are going to surface in another 30 years. You'll be shocked. Maybe
okay, interesting.
You'll be shocked and say, this contribution. And some people cannot fashion that. They cannot imagine it. They don't have that vision. They cannot imagine it. What they put in today is what they are going to get in another 20, 30, 40 years. And I keep using one parameter. When I left Nigeria in 1970, and I'm thinking, imagine it, 50 years, what I'm going to be, blah. 30 years is going to come. People, your children are going to be privy, they're going to have access to this kind of thing, because we're going to have a big library, we're going to have everything, and people are going to watch and hear some of our contributions. Thank you very much again. Alagba Sampayo, I've done everything possible. You will need... hold on, please. I've been... Sorry about that. I have to work every time I moderate. I have to use my phone. Another means by also the chat box to read and synchronize everything together. That's why. Sambayo, I don't want to feel guilty that you raise up your hand. I've asked you about 300 times now to unmute yourself. You don't, and everybody here are my witness. I don't know what's wrong with your system. I've asked you to unmute yourself. I saw your message on my phone, and I asked you to unmute yourself, and I think I've done more than enough. Let me go to Pastor Okebiorusi. Can you unmute yourself and make a quick contribution, because we need to go now anyway.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
We can hear you.
Sorry, I'm driving, but just a quick question. I know that there is, in the local law where we are here, you can quickly go to court, get a restraint from somebody doing something. You know, I don't know what you lawyers will know that. People, our learned people, how to restrain somebody from doing something ahead of that time. And then, can we do that internationally regarding this, our case with between CSI and Nigeria? We suspect that Nigeria wants to take a step, and we go to some court and get an injunction against them from taking that step.
Sir, I know we already asked you to go, lawyer Olufemi. Can you quickly, I have the answer, but I want you to give the answer. And I'm sure many other lawyers here have the answer. But can you quickly, please, this over time now. Barrister Olufemi. We still have Barrister Olufemi. I think it's gone after we turn. Bye-bye. Well, maybe one or two lawyers in the house can answer that question. Is there any lawyer in the house who want to answer the question of Pastor Dr. Isaac? Do you want to answer his question, or Dr. Janet, you want to answer his question? Barrister Ogedengbe, do you want to answer the question of Pastor?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I don't know if Barrister Ogedengbe is there, so I don't go.
He's not there, but please, I wanted to come to you anyway. So please.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. It will depend on the court where you want to go to. It has to be a court that can handle international law, and that has a precedent for doing things like that. Yes, you can go there, and the real question will be the service. You must be able to serve that government, their representative, if you know where they are. And then the court can bring both of you to the courtroom and hear the case out. So if it's something the court can do, the court will let you know. If it's not something, they will let you know. If you have jurisdiction, they will let you know. If they have jurisdiction, they will let you know. Yeah, you can. I mean, basically anybody can come to court, and it's worth trying. It's worth trying. Because I think the same sickness that Nigeria has is also what the Benin Republic also has, regardless of their system of law. I mean, law is law anywhere. The system will be different. We use common law. They use civil law. Civil law means that the judge is also the prosecutor, which I think should make it faster. So you know what he's looking for. You know what he wants. He puts it there. You defend it. As opposed to having two lawyers and then a judge. So whichever way, I believe fundamental human right is fundamental human right anywhere, whether under the law, whether in the Quran, in the Bible, even that's in Baye, anywhere. Fundamental human law remains fundamental human law. Until obade da koda, Yoruba ni erin yàtọ̀ títí tó fi dé ìlú òyìnbó tá bá káwọ́ lérí ẹkún là ń sùn. So tá bá ní tanra wa, what the Nigerian government is doing is so illegal, is so uncalled for from a government. I don't even know how somebody, even Benin Republic, kí ni òfin wọn tó fi mú Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho? Wọ́n mú under the from talking to his lawyer. Wọ́n mú under the orúkọ law Interpol. Pé orúkọ ẹ̀ wọ́n send orúkọ ẹ̀ síta bí fugitive. What made him a fugitive? Ẹ fẹ́ pààyàn, ó sáfẹ́mi ara ẹ̀, kì í ṣe pé bóyá òfin kankan wà tó dé pé kò lè jáde nílùú. Ó decide láti jáde láti fi ìlú lẹ̀ fún yín kẹ́ má pọ̀n, ẹ ti pààyàn méjì nínú ilé ẹ̀. So why the Interpol something? Tí Benin Republic can hold on to is what I don't know. Then, if there is no criminal court, criminal judgment against him, cannot hold on to. The civil court is in favor of Chibadeyemo. To wà against Nigeria. Tí Nigeria gan ò tí rí bí tán máa yọ ńbẹ̀ tán ṣe ń parọ́ òkè parọ́ tilẹ̀ owó tán ń kó fáwọn Boko Haram. Ojú nǹkan tán ní kan sọ fún Ìgbòho lọ tán ní economy àwọn máa collapse. Bí economy yẹn bá tiẹ̀ collapse gan àti ẹ̀dá bóyá wọ́n á fi jọba alẹ́ nígbà tán bá rówó jí mọ́. So, I mean, I don't know what they are holding on to. I really don't know what Benin Republic is holding on to. And I think Benin Republic also needs to be brought to the international court system. They come out with we are talking about Nigeria. I don't understand it because judgment then illegally, and I've been saying that. Illegally. For you to say illegally, you have to prove that it's not a Nigerian. And to make a valid Nigerian passport. Why? Because they just subscribe to the ECOWAS tenet of a system of something. But anybody from ECOWAS country, okay, to a valid the country here, disown, to the valid passport. Only war any West African country. Only Babe Koja, only Drumbe. So kini one on share wadi, but you war legally. Rudely because I'm hoping that one day, because other people want to go in the map common one people because I don't know where they are coming from. What system are they using to hold this man? What system? I don't understand.
Mommy, what action it me? What action can we initiate now?
Yes, we can.
49, I initiated the action, call all of us together. We got many things from it. What action can we initiate now against Nigeria first for attempting to call for Igboho to come to Nigeria? Let us set the action ball in motion. I am available. Kutonu. If Kutonu is wrong, legally speaking, and they need brains in law, let us go against them. Let the whole world know. What are we waiting for?
Okay. I must
action.
Okay, sir.
Let's meet and decide.
Okay, sir. Okay, Pastor. People are working tirelessly Monday to Friday since we've been in this, and we making provision for eventuality start a team. So people are working. I must give that to our more someone she share those areas, and that's why I see some discussions cannot be discussed here on public forum like BLE. But going back to Barrister Janet Fachaki, I feel your pain. But then again, I feel your pain in the sense that you also need to consider that you are dealing with very ruthless, very lawless people, that they don't care. They have instilled, they have imbibed that kind of fear. Ni African countries, Nigeria in particular. So that's why I was trying to break into pieces the governance structure. Governance structure, like where you have the judiciary, executive, and the legislature. Here in many African countries, you find out I want one celebrate
illegality.
Illegal, of course, it's part of what they do. Celebrate an average African president only don't get all the pecs, all the whatever the country stand for. Only
country to have room attorney general.
So exactly because the benefits in your concern one. I noticed we can talk from here till next month, and different level. The problem remains the same. I need your back. And when you want one better won't get away with it, and they're not going to stop because they believe that's the only way. Into you want on me. Sorry, Nigeria and Africa and don't show fee. How can a Tonchofima become a stooge? You might become a stepping confirm executive, tabi judiciary of all part of arms of government. Even when the I don't know how it's in some other countries, but I know in America, I can use America and Nigeria. American president is allowed or is empowered to choose judges. It's one of the brilliant lawyers.
Ìlú tó rí ẹ̀ bá pé ṣe ráwọn olófin yìí àwọn legislators ó yẹ kán pe Malami kó wá explain what law lòun ń lò láti sọ pé òun fẹ́ máa harass ẹni tí kóòtù ti sọ pé ẹ ò gbọ́dọ̀ harass. Then I expect Baba Igbo's lawyers too kán padà sí court kán pé kí kóòtù cite Malami for contempt of court. Because the court says you can't do something, you are doing it with impunity. And nothing is happening. We have lawmakers. They are not recalling Malami to come and explain. Kí ló rí lọ́bẹ̀ tó wá orú sọ́wọ́ tó ń dojú ti Nàìjíríà ní gbogbo ibi. Àwọn èèyàn ní kò sí Nàìjíríà wà wà la fẹ́ kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. Nigeria is still a country. The passport to Nigeria ní gbogbo wa ṣì bíà. They are disgracing everybody. So we still have a mouth to talk as Nigerians. I mean, well,
again, like I said, Barrister Fashakin, I feel your pain. I understand. It hurts me also when you and I and eminent other people who understand law cannot but to accept, which is a very sad word to use. Ikwe ìlú wa kì í ṣe ìlú olófin, ìlú àwọn èèyàn, ìlú àwọn few people, which is common said, a country is supposed to be a country of laws. Not of men. It is the laws that regulate our civilized country. It is laws that make things happen in many other countries. But Eripe, Ati Malami, Ati Malamo, Ati Bobo, they eat in the same bowl. Ati Ko Ruje, 20 billion, I'm running to the Pami. Owo ti omo minor jigongon, come by your ash change. What a quick, take us so into courts of one. Exactly. We are not doing our own thing now. At the finish, we appreciate you. But you can still join this at the hour among round of Kakumabara Ashiri. So you are welcome if you want to contribute. But let me say this. The truth of the matter is that ani ìlú tí ó ń ṣe ò dàbí ìlú tó kàn ṣe bó ṣe wù wọ́n. Ìlú tí government the last 61 years tí wọ́n mọ̀ pé ó yẹ kí iná wà nílùú yẹ kọ́nà wà, ó yẹ kí economy manufacture and ṣe nǹkan kan, ó yẹ kí ọ̀nà wà, ó yẹ kí medicare wà, ó yẹ kí a look after àwọn arúgbó wa, àwọn èèyàn wa, nǹkan kan ò jọ wá lójú àjẹ́ nǹkan kan. All what we want is pé few of us they have been licensed, they have been permitted to do whatever they want to do to the people of Nigeria, and I think that is sad. And that's why I keep using as a reason, a starting point. I think enough is enough. And the option we have is to leave that part of the world. Well, we are still going to be neighbors, but we cannot afford to continue to live in that kind of environment where people just do whatever they like. Take advantage. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I can tell you, of course, there's horrible things. We are talking of an average politician to manile be only nearly 100. And the masses and Rolls Royce. And you now ask yourself, say, I want congressmen, you show about judges that a president appointing me, I be nominated for whatever. Still does not go marry the bidder. I remember very well the lastminute.com Donald Trump when he told and she be pay nílùú wa Africa, especially in Nigeria, and she be orí wa ò pé àwọn tá ń ṣe. Let us say it out. And she be pay we are retarded. Because I say she yo to yeyan. Àwọn tó ń ṣòfin olè ni wọ́n. judiciary olè ni wọ́n, executive bàbá àwọn olè. Hello, ẹ bá mi get together. Alàgbàfẹ́mi, you want to say something on this? Bóyá kẹ́ ẹ̀ mú ìtara yín. Alàgbàfẹ́mi, do you want to say something? Okay, let's go. I have two people raising up their hands. Let me. Dr. Fashaki, are you? Is it my contribution? Does it make sense? All what I'm saying, Papa. Okay. Alàgbà Dáúdà, ṣé ẹ tún fẹ́ ẹni kan tẹ́ fẹ́ sọ Yorùbá àbí Hausa? No, ní Yorùbá. Yeah, mo tara yín sir.
Okay, sir. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ sọ ó ní pé nípa ẹnìkan sọ̀rọ̀ kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan nípa pé bóyá there may be an injunction to stop the expatriate of Olóyè Sunday Igboho. Tó wáyé pé nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé bóyá lè ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí from our hedge tó fi jẹ́ pé a fi lè stop ẹ̀. Because mo rí pé irú injunction yìí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn olóṣèlú máa ń gba irú injunction yẹn sometime àtàwọn ọmọ onílẹ̀. Wọ́n bá rí pé irú nǹkan tó bá fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ tó jẹ́ wípé wọn ò fẹ́ kí kinní yìí ó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wọn. Wọ́n á sáré gba court lọ. Between 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, wọ́n máa gba injunction yẹn láti fi stop processing yẹn. Mo rò pé irú yẹn tó wáyé pé níta bá lè ṣe ni from the law aspect kí wọ́n jẹ́ ká mọ̀ ká lè mọ̀ sẹ́ta máa ṣe lé lórí àti gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tó wà urgent ohun tí mo ní gẹ́gẹ́ bí contribution nìyẹn.
Alàgbàfẹ́mi, ṣé ẹ gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ? Like I said, you are officially just unofficial now. So you're just contributing as...
Yes, sir. I think before I went off abruptly, Pastor was saying something like that as well. Yes, just to address that. Yes, it's important that I have also addressed that earlier when I said that whatever representation is being made on the side of the Nigerian government, the legal team of Chief Sunday DMO are obliged, as a matter of duty, to also confront those representations, with law, and also make their own representations. Justice is both to both parties. So, in as much as that should be done, which means that if Nigerian government, as we all know now, as we have agreed, have made representations or applications or requests to the Beninese government for extradition of Chief Sunday Adeyemo, then the legal team of Chief Sunday Adeyemo must, as a matter of duty, also pursue that and go further to make that representation, because both parties must be heard, before that decision can be taken. So in whatever guise, whatever nature that petition has to be made, it must be made. But then, like we said earlier, it is not just on that ground alone. Of course, while we are fighting that in the court or with the Beninese government, we must also use other means available to us. Now, within the this is a question for international law. So we must also choose. We must also work with the forum that is being utilized by the aggressor or by the Nigerian government. Let me not use that word, but by the Nigerian government. So where if they are before any court, if you have any knowledge that they're before any court in Benin Republic, we can approach that court. But if not, we can still approach the Nigerian court. I believe I cannot say exhaustively now how far that can go, but then of course, I'm sure that the legal team of Chief Sunday Igboho are not sleeping over this, and they know exactly what to do. I mean, we know that we have renowned Navigate of Nigeria leading the team, amongst others, and also fantastic lawyers. Some of them I know personally, who are also handling the matter, the legal issues for Chief Sunday Igboho. So yes, I know that they are not sleeping over this. So yes, the teaching time says 9. So it's important that that is done. as soon as possible, whilst also exploring other options available to us. And also, I think that it's also important that we look at the possibility of addressing the Beninese government directly, making representations or petitions to the Beninese government, why the Beninese government should not, go further to extradite Chisunde Adeyemo. And of course, whilst doing that, what we'll basically be doing is just to be bringing to the knowledge of the Beninese government the law as it stands and what the law stands for, and then the right state of things, the proper state of things, and to guide the Beninese government on what they should do in the circumstance. So I think that should be the case. That said, I want to once again thank all of us. I think at this point, since we said the prior interview has come to an end, so yes. I would have to bow out most respectfully and thank everyone for the.
Thank you very much. And I can assure you, I always promise my guests, we always want to have back again.
No problem at all, sir. It's a pleasure.
When they understand and say not what we want to hear.
But what we need to know.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. All right, sir. Bye, everyone.
Now, I saw a couple of hands up before. I don't know whether they're still interested. Ade, is Ade still there? I saw Ade before. Ade, are you still available? Do you still want to ask a question? Okay. Ade is not there. Okay. Now, Mr. Sampaio, I feel very all right, we need to call it a day now. Thank you very much, all. God bless you all. Alagwa Amazing Toyin, please get in touch, and then we can continue our discussion. It's been my pleasure. My name is Otumba Olabode Useni, and I love you all. God bless you.
Ilé wa Yorùbá nation, ó dára ó lẹ́wà ilẹ̀ òmìnira, kò síbikíbi tí a lè wà lórílẹ̀ ayé tí a lè gbàgbé Yorùbá nation. Jọ̀wọ́ o Olúwa mú wa dé ibẹ̀, tọmọtọmọ tọkọtọkọ tayátayá wa, kí gbogbo ayé lè mọ̀ wípé ilẹ̀ tiwa ni, àwa yóò dé Yorùbá nation. Jọ̀wọ́ o Olúwa ràn wá ní ọwọ́ láti gba ara wa nínú ìnira. Ọgbọ̀nkọ̀gbọ̀n tí Nàìjíríà fi lè tàn wá jẹ, àwa yóò dé Yorùbá nation. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ilẹ̀ òmìnira, èmi kò jẹ́ gbàgbé rẹ̀. Èmi yóò máa sọ nípa ògo rẹ̀, mo fojú sọ́nà sí ilẹ̀ mi. Oh my land, Yorùbá nation, I will always cherish you. I will always fight for your glory. I look forward to you, my land, Yorùbá nation now. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ilẹ̀ òmìnira, èmi kò jẹ́ gbàgbé rẹ̀. Èmi yóò máa sọ nípa ògo rẹ̀, mo fojú sọ́nà sí ilẹ̀ mi. Oh my land, Yorùbá nation, I will always cherish you. I will always fight for your glory. I look forward to you.
Ẹlẹ́ni yóò máa fẹ́, ẹlẹ́ni yóò máa fẹ́, ẹlẹ́ni. àsíá o Yorùbá nation lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Àjò lè jò onílé má relé lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Àjò lè dùn kó dídẹrẹ́ má rèwọ́ lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Ilé ẹni kì í bani lẹ́rù o lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Ilé gbogbo pàdé ìtàgbé lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Ọmọ Yorùbá ilé ti yáná lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Àgbájọwọ́ la máa fi ń sọ̀yà lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Ọmọ Yorùbá ilé ti yáná lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. Àsìkò ti tó Yorùbá kárẹ̀lé o lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́. 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 Àsíá o Yorùbá nation lẹ́lẹ́ ni ó máa fẹ́.